604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing, starting you off at 51 degrees, starting off your 6 o'clock hour at 51 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we're broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. Is it time for your IT to hit a 180? Visit 180pros.com. We got a lot of ground to cover today. I know I say that every day, but we do. It's 3 hours worth of ground to cover here. And it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Franz is in for Legally Served. That is going to have a number of topics, at least two, that we're covering today. We're diving in the 6th congressional district race. Larry Davis is a conservative in that race. Going to join us at 7:15 to talk about who he is and what's got him running. We're going to check in St. Landry Parish on a carbon capture project. Van Reed is going to hop on board at 7:35. And then it's going to be a little bit of the insurance reform, legal reform into the insurance world in the legislative session. Josh Carlson in the 8 o'clock hour. Then we might talk a little travel, little seafood cook-off, little what's going on in the world of LTA with Chris Landry. But before we get to anything else, top stories and trending coming your way now. Governor Jeff Landry signed an executive order creating the Office of Rural Health Transformation and Sustainability within the Louisiana Department of Health. That new office will lead the state's implementation of Louisiana's Rural Health Transformation Program, which is supported by more than $208 million in federal funding. Louisiana's award is among the highest in the nation and positions the state to draw down more than $1 billion in total funding over the next 5 years. Louisiana Seafood Cook-Off will be held at Jefferson Parish for the first time this year. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and the Louisiana Seafood Promotion and Marketing Board said yesterday that the 19th annual competition will take place at the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner on June 26th. Yeah, it's my dad's birthday. The winner will represent the state at the Great American Seafood Cook-Off to be held a month later at the Montreal Convention Center in New Orleans. Grabbing this one from the Red Eye this morning. Looks like construction has paused for a few weeks, and the reopening of Fleur de Lis Pizza is going to be pushed back. Per the Red Eye, construction paused a few weeks ago after renovation costs climbed past $2 million. Partner Andy Batson says, this is in the Red Eye email, a new contractor found a way to work with more of the existing building and bring the cost down enough to get the project moving again. One man was injured in a targeted shooting on Sherwood Street yesterday. Officials responded to a shooting call around 5 p.m. at the intersection of Sherwood Street and Elm Drive. Police say a 45-year-old man was shot in the abdomen. LSU will launch the state's first bachelor's degree in artificial intelligence this fall, positioning itself among a small but growing group of universities nationwide offering undergrad programs focused specifically on AI. The new degree, which will be offered through LSU's College of Engineering, is designed to prepare students to build, analyze, and deploy modern AI systems across industries ranging from energy to healthcare. Oh, by the way, fall is they're for the reopening of Fleur de Lis. They're projected to be open by fall.
I was bummed when you said that, but now I'm excited.
Okay.
The U.S. and Iran have reached an agreement on a 2-week ceasefire with a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz.
Yay!
This thing's messy. Have you been all over TikTok and social media?
Oh yeah, yeah. The president's threat about he'll wipe them off the planet, just annihilate an entire. Yeah. Which I don't know. I read that as an idle threat. Like there was no way that was going to come to fruition.
Right.
That was just a loud, shouty threat. Do you think he knows it's an idle threat? Do what?
Do you think that the president knows it's an idle threat, or do you think he really meant it?
I think that he thought it was an idle threat as well. I think he was going to shout them down until they came to the table.
You know who Les Grossman is?
Les Grossman?
From the movie Tropic Thunder. That's what I kind of feel like I'm watching sometimes.
Oh, my God.
I want to give the president a Diet Coke.
Tropic Thunder.
I want to give the president a Diet Coke.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it.
Good morning.
G5.
Y'all are crazy. Republican Clay Fuller, who had President Trump's endorsement, has won a special election in Georgia's 14th congressional district to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene.
So what does this mean for our upcoming races here in Louisiana? We've got a Senate race. Does that mean that Julia Letlow getting the endorsement of President Trump carries a little more weight right now? Because when Marjorie Taylor Greene stepped away from Congress because of her disconnect with the president, the question then became, would the district follow her or would the district follow him? Clearly, the district followed him. So are Trump endorsements going to be worth a little bit more this go-round?
Be interesting.
Oh.
Delta Airlines is raising jet bag fees by up to $50 as soaring jet fuel costs ripple through the airline industry.
Okay.
So I have a question. I fly tomorrow.
Yeah.
Am I paying that new fee?
Is your fee already on your invoice?
I think you should just layer up. Don't bring a bag. Just layer
like Joey and Friends.
There's no weight.
Probably layers up.
I don't think there's a weight capacity.
Wear all your clothes.
Just be like, I'm morbidly obese. This is who I am.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. If you're a skinny person with a fat bag or a fat person with a skinny bag, it's netting out the same thing.
Right. Just layer up.
Right. I don't think the charge shouldn't be, because we're talking about the reason they're putting the fee on bags is bags are extra weight on the plane, right? So shouldn't there be a net of your entire usage of the plane between you, your carry-on, your check bag? Like, everybody get on the scale all at once. We'll figure out what you're weighing and what your drag is on the airplane.
Oh my God. You know how embarrassing that would be? But hey, you got a point though. You got a point.
Listen, when I was 150 pounds bigger, there were times where I was like, I'm buying 2 seats because I wanted my space.
You needed that little extender.
Oh, dude, that was the worst. Having to ask for the extender. I didn't mind wearing the extender, but it was like, hey, beautiful flight attendant, who could be a supermodel if they weren't a flight attendant.
Yep.
I'm really fat and I need an extender.
Oh gosh.
I never got to extender stage. The fattest I got was completely maxed out the current seatbelt.
It's like, oh wait, I can close it.
Yeah.
I never got there either, but my poor mom, she's a heavier set woman. And last time she flew, she's sitting there, y'all, and she's sweating. And you could tell she's very uncomfortable. I'm like, Mom, next time, please let's buy another seat.
Yeah. But that's my point, though, is your total weight for the plane, your total, like how much it's costing the plane in jet fuel to carry you, has nothing to do with individually, not your bag, not your carry-on, not your person, but the combined weight. So I'm saying, let's go. Are you saying it'd be embarrassing if you're okay? What's embarrassing is if you go to Yogurt Land and you let the rest of your family weigh their yogurt first, and then you put yours on and it doubles. Like that's what I'm saying is get on the scale with your bags. That way it's one big gross, not gross as in gross, but gross as in opposed to net. One big gross weight.
True.
That's where I'm at.
Who's judging? Are you judging yourself? Is the poor little store clerk like looking at you, like judging you? Is your family judging you?
Yogurt Land?
Yeah.
Oh, everyone.
I thought it's a judgment-free zone.
No, that's Planet Fatness.
No, that's Planet Fitness. Yeah.
I'm judging me. The kid who works there is judging me.
And probably Christy.
The law above is judging me.
It hit home to me when I was supposed to play Santa Claus for Christmas for a Kiwanis club downtown Wonderland, and I couldn't fit in the Santa suit.
Oh,
too fat to play Santa.
But Santa's
I'll say that again.
Fat.
Too fat to play Santa. That's when reality set in. That was when it was like that was rock bottom. Too fat to play Santa.
I don't know where to go from there, so we're going to break.
You're welcome.
613 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Actually, before we take our break, let me remind you about Industry Makes. IndustryMakes.org is out there for industry in Louisiana. For industry in Louisiana. If you want to learn more, visit IndustryMakes.org. There's just a couple of things you might want to know along the way. First of all, Louisiana's manufacturing sector and the businesses that support it can no longer just stand aside and let others tell their story. That's how IndustryMakes.org came to be. Now, who they're looking for is people that want to tell their story. Go to IndustryMakes.org, hit the Ambassador's Toolkit, learn how you can help out. The mission is simple: to be a trusted source of industrial communications while advocating for future investment and industrial growth, which is the backbone of Louisiana. Learn more at IndustryMakes.org. Quick break. Sports is next.
7:00 today.
Okay.
Today's busy. Today is this, then an hour, then court,
Oh no.
then Nancy Grace, court, Nancy Grace, then court TV. I did RSVP for Rotary, so I didn't.
Oh, you're going to miss out, my man. You don't even know who the guest is, do you?
Head baseball coach for Southern.
Incorrect. Head football coach for Southern.
That was close. Had the right university.
Sure.
Wrong sport. If you put a gun to my head right now and said, Franz, if you can answer this question right, you get to live, I couldn't name you the head coach for Southern. That's not a black thing. That's my absence of sports knowledge.
I could tell you the head coach of Southern. I could tell you where he went to high school, where he went to college, where he played professionally, and what year he was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, my man.
Do sports every day.
I don't. Well, I got a 3-minute segment.
Yeah.
So, Marshall Faulk, by the way. You heard the name? Heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Indianapolis Colts, St. Louis Rams.
Sure.
NFL Hall of Fame class of 2011.
Sure.
San Diego State.
Not an NFL. So
Carver High School in New Orleans.
So college football, yes. I'm not as much a knowledge. I don't have as much knowledge on NFL. I know we have a team in Louisiana called the Saints.
St. Paul's first trip to the playoffs that netted a playoff victory was against Carver the year after Marshall Faulk was in the at San Diego State.
So you had a chance.
We won that game. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see the field. No, that was the year before.
Playing football?
That was the year. That was the year before I started playing. That was my sophomore year.
You played high school football,
junior and senior year. Well, I watched a lot of high school football in a uniform.
I thought for some reason more basketball.
Basketball was my first love. Yes. Mm-hmm. Baseball was what I was best at. Football got me access to the weight room all summer long so that I could be better for basketball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody said, Brian, you're in here all the time. Just come out for the team. You're already halfway through with the summer workout program. So I did. And I was a decent tight end. I was a terrible outside linebacker. .617 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So I guess we'll start off with the the bad news from last night. LSU baseball falls to Bethune-Cookman. And I'm sorry, my page is telling me, hold on, it's getting ready. There we go. 10-7, your final score right there. The Tigers struggled early to find outs. Bethune-Cookman put up a 3-run second inning. LSU had 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Each team had 1 in the fourth. Then Bethune-Cookman had 1 in the fifth, and then put up a 5 spot in the seventh. LSU midweek pitching was definitely on the struggle bus, to be sure. The Tigers had, let me see how many it was right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different pitchers over the course of the game. The longest the pitcher was in there was 2 innings and a third. That would be Garcia and Ricken. The shortest one was in there was Lackenmeyer, didn't even get an out. So rough go of it for the Tigers last night, losing to now Bethune-Cookman's no slouch. They're in the SWAC, but they are leading the SWAC. So you got to put up at least a decent performance, and they fall short 10-7. No worries, though. You pack things up. You head to Oxford, Mississippi. LSU is at Ole Miss for a 3-game set Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 6:30 p.m. Friday is first pitch versus Ole Miss. 6 o'clock airtime on the LSU Sports Radio Network and on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Meanwhile, LSU softball does roll to a victory last night. I don't have a clock in front of me, Breland, so I need to be kept up to time. LSU softball does roll on to a victory last night. Beth Tarina and her Tigers, they welcomed in Central Arkansas. 9-1 win. They called this one after 6 for run rule. LSU just walloped Central Arkansas. Really good performance on the, it's not a mound in softball, but in the circle. LSU softball steps out of conference this weekend, welcoming in number 12 in the country, Arizona. Arizona Wildcats coming in for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday set. 6 p.m. Friday, 5 p.m. Saturday, 11 a.m. Sunday. All those will be right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Patrick Wright will be on the call on the LSU Sports Radio Network. It's 6:20. Here's the Fox Business Report.
Morning, Carl. Good morning, Renee. Oh.
She pops in. Always talking about your dog and clothes.
She has an unhealthy relationship with my dog. I have to create some boundaries. I'm going to create some boundaries.
I bet you your dog loves him.
Oh, she's an excellent friend and dog sitter. The dog smells better every time she hangs out with Kim because Kim will like bathe dog cologne. She will bathe the dog and all that. She takes my dog places too to try to pick up dudes. I don't know how I feel about it. Like she's a wing girl. My dog's a wing girl. But it did make me realize maybe I should start taking my cute, adorable, sweet dog places to kind of like, I mean, like pet my dog.
And by the way,
I'm Franz Borghardt. What's the Simpsons line?
I don't know. I'm still trying to come up with a Les Grossman line that doesn't have a curse word. I wanted to quote him, but I'm like,
we don't negotiate with terrorists.
That'll work. I'm like,
the goodie room.
Is he from Louisiana Travel Association?
Chris Landry? Yeah.
I'm a tag.
Chris Landry 4, I think, is his Twitter.
No, I was once in the fur ball. Well, my dog was. Old dog. Maggie will. I've told them that Maggie is she's a little hood, but like she wants to get on the dress and get on stage and stuff.
So Maggie's hood, but yet Kim dresses her up all. Byron says it's not dog cologne, it's perfume.
Well played. Paul Arrigo says it costs money for airlines to handle bags.
Shouldn't that be built into the ticket?
Don't.
Like, isn't that built into the ticket? If I'm not paying for the fuel as part of my ticket, what am I paying for? The seat?
Yeah. All right, heading back to the traffic center real quick. Sorry, pulling up the map again real fast because I was told, this might have been cleared already. I was told that, let me pull up my messenger here. This was from about 30 minutes ago. The 12 west of Acadian was slow, 10 west of Acadian was slow because of blockage on the bridge. But I'm looking at the map and it looks like that's all clear now. I'm not showing any blockage, any slowdowns at all on I-10 westbound. No delays on 12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs either. In fact, that normal volume is still not there because, well, school's still out, among other things. I mean, a lot of people leave town for spring break, y'all. 10 west coming in from Ascension Parish looks good. I-10 eastbound coming in from westbound Rouge Parish looks good. And I-110 looks good in both directions. Surface streets. Wait, you know what? Okay, there is, I want to go back to I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. There was a reported accident about 15 minutes ago, 12 westbound at O'Neill. But like I said, looking at the map, there's no sign of it causing any delays right now. Surface streets, there is an accident, Essen at Burden and Celtic at Costco Way. That's weird. Like, yeah, but like, and there's an apartment complex there. But like, how do you get into an accident at 6:17 in the morning? maybe there's two cars there, like they just found each other.
And then the one place that
like
I know
star-crossed lovers, these two cars were just magnetized into each other. That's Costco's not open yet.
No, and the one place I know there's a 4-way stop. That somebody
nothing ever happens in the Costco parking lot. That's before hours. Nothing ever happens in grocery store parking lots before hours.
Wait, what?
Huh?
What?
Huh?
Where's this going?
Oh Lord, y'all.
Legally served.
That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. All right, further confirmation. Shout out. First of all, shout out to Matt for letting me know about the accident. Shout out to Jeff for texting in saying just crossed the bridge and it's all clear. So we're good to go on that front. Whatever Matt was seeing half an hour ago is obviously gone. Before we dive into Legally Served, let me remind you about the folks over at NeuroJust. 225-330-7382 is their phone number. And I give you their phone number because they can do a better job telling their story than I can. NeuroJust is for if you are suffering from anxiety or depression, and you've been treatment resistant, you might want to give them a look. They specialize in transcranial magnetic stimulation. And you know full well, if you battle with anxiety, it's this constant fight or flight in your mind. They describe in the commercial as these 6-foot waves constantly crashing around. To me, it's a constant fight or flight and how exhausting it is to always be in that position. And that's where anxiety can spill over into depression. NeuroJust, I mean, it is more like physical therapy for your brain. It targets the parts of the brain that affect mood and actually treat it rather than just covering it up with an antidepressant, covering it up with a prescription drug. Learn more at neurojust.com, or like I said, give them a call, 330-7382 for NeuroJust. All right, time for Legally Served. Let's go.
I'm being charged with a crime. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt. Don't tell me what I know and don't know I know the law.
Hi, Franz.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir.
You know, I'm sometimes criticized for my commentary on the legislature.
Yeah.
And my position is always the same. They should take some responsibility for some of my commentary because some of my statements they're responsible for. When they make asinine laws that don't seem to make sense, or, Brian, when they make laws that make it look like someone got caught doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, and then they make a law to kind of shield that, I can't help it. I can't help it.
All right. No, so I got to follow up. If you're going to throw this out there in that regard,
sure.
Who got caught doing what? I want you to answer it in a minute. Let me set the table here real quick. Right now, we're going to take you inside the legislature for a look at HB 410. This is by State Representative Lori Schlegel from Metairie, who is a solid representative, very good representative of District 82 in Metairie.
She might be.
And she's got within HB 410, the abstract says it requires notification of all parties to record in-person communication. That is the long and the short of what.
There's no small part of you that thinks somebody got caught saying something and was recorded, and this is why we have this. I mean, there's no small part of you that thinks
Hang
that.
on. No, there's 100% of me thinks it. And oh, by the way, it's not right when it happens. I'll tell you who it happened to directly. I don't know if this bill is written because of that situation, but I can tell you directly, remember back to the Baton Rouge mayor's race. Remember when M.E. Cormier recorded Ted James on the slide when he said, I'm woke and I'm MAGA?
You want the best part? You want the best part of that?
What?
WPRC interviewed Emmy, who was against this bill.
No kidding.
She's on video against this bill. I was
no
like,
kidding,
isn't that ironic?
If you're into recording people on the sly, trying to catch them with a hot mic to say something that they don't know is coming or they don't know is being recorded, trying to catch them out of context, trying to catch them off their guard. If you're in favor of that, you're going to hate this bill. But if you like this, look, I'm not a hot mic guy. Everybody that steps in the studio, I tell them, we're on during Facebook. Please be careful.
Look,
don't hot mic yourself.
I have literally no excuse. I know mics are hot, and I still say the stupid stuff I say.
But it's not because I'm trying to do something secretly.
Right. But that's anybody in this industry.
Right.
Generally, in media.
Oh, I've hot mic'd myself a lot.
But the general consensus, producers, everyone's like, you live your life as if what? All mics are hot.
The mic is always on.
We're in court. You live your life as if all mics are recording.
Oh, yeah. I got a thumb drive up in my desk that says so.
Wow. So, okay. I'm not firing bullets at your legislator. What I'm saying is the way this law is written is wonky.
Okay.
For example, and I think you saw my post about this.
I didn't see your post. I saw what you sent me.
The end of the law, proposed law, is for damages.
Mm-hmm.
So if you violate this law, you can be sued for damages, court costs, and attorney's fees.
Hang on, we got to stop. It's time for news.
That's a good startup point. So I have a device on the back of my phone. It's called Plaud, Plaud. It is an AI device that records and transcribes in real time. Like if I press a button here, or if I do an app on my phone, I can record, and then if I click transcribe in seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes.
Where can I get that?
Amazon, baby. You have to get a subscription it charges by the minutes. So you can do a free minute plan where it gives you a certain amount of minutes of transcription. I do an unlimited one, but it's not very expensive. So what that is good for is if I'm sitting in a church and I like a priest who does certain homilies, but I don't want to take notes, I'll record the homily, transcribe the homily, and then read it later. Yep. Client meetings. Now, I generally advise clients, hey, I'm recording you. It's not because I'm trying to lock you into something. It's because we're meeting. I'm recording you so that I can have these notes memorialized and I can pay better attention to you.
And it's all, yes, you pay attention to what's being said, not what you're writing, but also it's good training for when you are on the record in court as well.
Right.
To where
you would think that someone who's done this for like 20 years, who's on the record all the time, I would be more careful with what I say on these things, but I'm not. The point is, dude, totally though, Emmy, I was like, ain't that ironic? Now, she was talking more about it from the perspective of victims and the protection of victims and getting victims
not from
to
the
record.
Perspective which she does
like
to win political elections.
I stung me some Ted James. That was,
by the way, with Ted James wasn't ashamed of what he had to say, and he shouldn't be, because if you broadened out, if you lose the out of context quote, see, that's the duplicitous part. Is you take a big old quote and you pull this, because he was talking about how he has enemies on both sides.
And friends on both sides.
Right. But if you pull out I'm woke and I'm MAGA, that totally skews what he actually had to say.
Change the context, yeah.
Yeah.
Debbie, I think filmed and recorded are indistinguishable in the bill, but it doesn't say, I don't think it says videoing.
Does it not?
And photos are different. Debbie, photos are different. You can take photos. We're talking about recording. Like you're going to have a conversation with somebody and you don't tell them, hey, I'm recording you. Brian has a stash of recordings for blackmail purposes, ?
No, it's for research purposes. If it was for blackmail purposes, I would probably be in a new car by now. I drive a 20-year-old vehicle.
It's beautiful. Luxury.
It's
Where do you take your vehicle for?
I take it to Vex European.
Vex European.
Who is basically Dr. Frankenstein at this point because they're bringing that MFer back to life. Like it should be dead. So they completely replaced the internal computer, like the brain of the whole thing. And the new brain isn't talking to some of the old pieces. So like I don't have windshield wipers right now.
That's
those
kind of important.
in the Louisiana spring are kind of important. So it's back at Vicks right now.
Yeah.
No, brakes are working.
Yep.
Gas is working. It's running well.
So you have windshield wipers. It's just when you hit the little thing, it doesn't.
Nothing happens. So yes, technically my windshield wipers exist. They're just like Stephen Hawking's legs.
Huh. Byron says my doctor uses AI software to transcribe the visit notes during my doctor visit. If I ask something, it transcribes my questions as well.
Yeah, and it's intuitive and it learns. So the more I use it, the more it gets used to my voice.
It transcribes.
I think her concern was in part the editing of recordings, the technology that we have that can create fake recordings. Like if you see a video of me doing the crip walk, you can probably guess that that's AI generated. I mean, I'm
the Dirty Dancing finale dance.
Probably AI generated.
Have you seen all the AI versions of every movie out there? Like,
I sometimes go down the rabbit hole on Instagram and Facebook or TikTok of the AI. I love me some AI. I was thinking about going on a weekend trip somewhere, and I used ChatGPT to help plot another itinerary. Food stops. I went to Montreal. I did the same thing. I went to Canada and survived.
So I'm in charge of making a memorial PowerPoint for my granny. So she has 300 some photos.
Easy. Use AI.
Well, it's
How?
not ChatGPT. I'm like,
Dude, you load the pictures in the ChatGPT using these photos, ChatGPT. Please make me a memorial. Make me something to remember my sweet grandmother.
You got to
by.
load them in first, though.
It's surprisingly easy. It's drag. It's click and drag.
No, sir. It's their photos.
Oh,
yeah.
well, but then you can get those scanned.
So I have all the digital photos.
Okay, well then you're 90% of the way there.
When I chat GPT, I said, is there a way to drag and dump and have a prompt in PowerPoint to create a slide with each? And then it showed me exactly what to do. I got it done in like 5 seconds.
637 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt, continuing right now. We're starting off. We got another story we're going to get to on our next segment, but we're continuing on with HB 410, which is by State Representative Lori Schlegel. And the bill itself, the abstract from the bill, and I know when you read the bill, the devil's in the details, right? But the abstract says it requires disclosure to all parties that a direct in-person conversation is being recorded under circumstances in which a person has a reasonable expectation of privacy. So let's start with this, okay?
Do we ever have an expectation of privacy anymore?
Out in public, I don't think so.
Okay.
But if you and I are sitting down at a restaurant and we're having a conversation between the two of us,
Let's say you're sitting in my office.
okay, that's yes.
And we're not talking about law, just having a conversation in my office about radio or about something, or a project or something
and
like
one
that.
of us is recording the other, and somebody says something a little bit off kilter, and when pulled out of context, it sounds 1,000 times worse. That's what this law is talking about. That's what this bill is talking about. It's not talking about
my favorite part of the bill, which I was trying to get into last segment.
Yeah.
Is the last part where it says damages.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense, right? I'm talking to Brian. Brian says something a little off kilter. I violate the terms of this law. Brian has a right of action to sue me for damages, court costs, and attorney's fees. And everybody's like, well, that sounds right. Let's change the scenario a little bit. Timmy is accused of sexually assaulting Susie. Susie, outside of law enforcement, calls Timmy and records the conversation or some other manner, and Timmy makes an admission. She publishes that on social media. Timmy's a rapist. He's a sexual assaulter. Publishes it on social media. Timmy now has a cause of action against Susie for breaking this law and is entitled to damages, court costs, and attorney's fees because she did not get his consent prior to recording him.
I want to ask you this. Do you have a reasonable expectation of privacy if you're on the phone with somebody that is already suing you?
Already suing, I would say no.
Or charges are pending against you.
I think
if
it's
Timmy has charges against him.
No. Don't change my hypo. My hypo is Susie is claiming that Timmy sexually assaulted her. Susie calls Timmy, no criminal charges, to try to get him to admit to doing something.
She hasn't filed any charges
Correct.
yet. She hasn't gone to the
police.
You know
you were wrong for doing what you did last night.
Okay.
Something like that.
She's recording him on the slide right there.
But now, for those listeners out there who are more tech savvy than me, I wish I had Haggai here. When you record somebody on iPhone now, because iPhone has a feature that says press record conversation, does it let the other person know that you're recording them?
I have no idea.
Huh? It does. It does.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how about this scenario? You're on speakerphone on my iPhone, and I use the secondary device to record the conversation. You don't know I'm recording you, right? I get what you're saying. There should be a value to our expectation of privacy, right?
Yeah.
But in the same breath, this isn't the right one. This needs to be tinkered with. I would not be shocked if this doesn't get shelved for a little while. Best of intentions. I understand where she's coming from, but best of intentions sometimes leads to what's called the law of unintended consequences.
Oh, we talk about that. We talk about that all the time when it comes to legislation, for sure.
Right. So now there are exceptions in there that are smart. There's a law enforcement exception in there.
Which, by the way, I think it's important for us to note that there is the whole part about if you're filming a law enforcement action, those law enforcement officers do not have that right to privacy. They don't need to know. They're doing their job out in public, and that's the other part of it. You don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in public.
I get really pissy, as you know, when there's laws that prevent you from recording a conversation with a law enforcement officer.
Right.
More so when there was no body cameras. Now we have body cameras.
Sure.
So it's a little bit less. If you don't have your body camera on and it's a contentious issue, we all kind of are like, dude.
Now, also bear in mind that every camera and every recording is just one perspective. However, those cameras and those recordings make us believe that we have the full story every single time out.
Well, that's therein lies.
I mean, even when the NFL goes to instant replay, they have multiple cameras to check.
The modern technological world we live in is you watch a video of something now and you're like, is that AI?
That's
and
true
sometimes
too.
sometimes it's obvious.
Yeah.
Deep fake. We have laws now being crafted about deep faking juveniles, where creating child pornography off of AI, which I have no problem with.
What?
Right? I have no problem with that law. Like,
he has no problem with the law.
Oh.
No,
the law prevents it.
Clearly I have a problem with child pornography.
Yeah.
Not so much representing people accused of it.
Poorly said.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've been arrested for child pornography, I'm here for you.
That's not
at a fee. But that law makes sense to me. The law that says, hey, if you're going to create child pornography using AI, and the counter argument is, well, wait, it's not real. It's artistic expression. It's not real. I'm using AI.
Not. It's child pornography.
It's child pornography, right?
Yeah.
Like if I watch Jack Nicholson doing the Crip dance on TikTok or Instagram, in the Joker outfit, it's not real, but I can see the argument from Jack Nicholson of, wait a minute, you used my name, image, and likeness. Point is, this law to record people, dual consent, there are some states that allow this. Okay. My problem is more so you're going to make a lot of different industries a lot more difficult. Okay. Getting people, look, and here's the other kicker. This is I'm on my soapbox. It requires notice to the other person. What does notice mean? You're in my office. You're in my office.
Yeah.
You're in my office. We're talking about something non-law related. And there's a big sign that says all conversations in my office are recorded.
Yeah.
Isn't that putting you on notice? Or do I specifically,
I think you need to tell me.
Do I need to get you to sign a waiver?
No, I think it needs to be in the recording. Hey, I'm recording this.
Well, that's not what the legislation says.
Well, what does the legislation say?
Notice. That's what the term is. Right. Notice.
So
nice and ambiguous.
Well, here's the thing, though, and this is part of it. This is why we have a process how a bill becomes a law.
Correct.
Lori Schlegel is unbelievably smart.
I don't know what she did before she was a legislator. Or while she's a legislator, because you're.
I looked this up last night. I want to say her degree was Masters of Arts in Marriage and Family Counseling. She Bachelor's of Science degree in psychology.
Smart lady.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like not a lawyer. That's why you put this bill in front of a legal committee.
I think you need to have a mix, and this is my bigger gripe, is there are academic legal orders, groups that review law, and that is good. That's a good thing. They can provide historical context. They can provide a good holistic approach to it. But you also need to have people that do practical, like day in and day out law.
That's the purpose of I'm just a bill and I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. Like, that's the whole purpose of the process. It goes through committee. It goes to the House floor. Lori Schlegel's done her job. She presented a really good idea.
It's a really good idea.
I stand by it. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm not trying, by the way, I don't know this lady. I've never met her. She probably doesn't know who Franz Borghardt is. She may be one of the few people who doesn't know who Franz is.
That's wow.
Humility.
Zero.
It's a cross. It's a cross. I bear.
Well,
point is, I would want to tinker with this a little bit.
That's the point.
Now, here's the secondary question for you.
Where it can
have you been to the legislature while they're making law?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you
last week?
Have you testified in a committee?
No, I have not testified.
Can I tell you what that feels like when you go to a committee? Not necessarily trying to be a pro or a con or something, but you're offering educational expertise in a certain topic, and you're talking, and it feels like what? Nobody's listening.
Yeah.
Playing on their phones, doing all sorts of stuff. It has that air. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are. But it does kind of feel like,
Well, my whole point on this is, if it's going to be tinkered with, now we're in the process of tinkering with it. If you want to have protections for somebody like that, then,
is anyone ever going to consent to being recorded?
Yes.
Okay.
Aren't you recorded every time you make a phone call to a business?
I generally, if I hear that, if this call will be recorded or may be recorded, I hang the phone up. Now here's it's notice, not consent, right? So my inmate clients, who all prison calls are recorded.
Okay.
They're fine. You know why they're fine? Because there's this call is being recorded. They're on notice. Nobody can say they didn't get noticed that it's being recorded.
We're due up for another break real quick. On the backside of the break, we're going to flip the topic a little bit. Boy, if you want to kill someone, do it on a boat. We'll talk about that next on Talk 107.3 FM.
How many people died? Two. How'd you feel about that sentence?
Do what?
How'd you feel about his sentence? Light.
Very light. Very, very light. Was there even a sentence?
No, he's going to jail for a year.
A year.
I'll tell you. You say that, but I want you to keep something in perspective. 1 year for someone who's probably never been a year in jail or a day in jail. Yeah. 1 year for somebody who's never been a day in jail. That's a long time.
Yeah, I'm not worried about how much he's jailed before. I'm worried about he killed someone.
Right.
Two someones.
Right. Good morning, Ashley. Good morning, Carol.
So Gen Z thinks if you listen to Anita Ward's Ring My Bell for 3 days, you'll get wealthy. And it got me asking the question, what song could you listen to on a loop for 3 days?
Galen writes, so Louisiana is no longer a one-party consent state. Well, no, it still is. The law hasn't passed yet, Galen.
Yeah, it is. We were certainly a one-party consent state when Ted James was running for mayor.
Emmy! Whatever happened to Emmy? Isn't she doing something now?
Probably.
I wouldn't be comfortable sitting down with her and having a conversation about anything.
There's a handful of people that I've learned that are like that, though. I'll tell you, there's one who's on her way up the... Nope. Not gonna be many more. No,
So you and I have friends.
I've learned.
You and I have mutual friends that keep text messages for years. And like archive them and everything. Really? Yeah. I delete text messages.
I don't delete texts very often.
I try to keep my unread text messages below 100. I'm at 66 right now.
You have 66 unread texts?
Yeah, but
I have 0.
But some of them I can read. Hold on. Some of them I can read on my watch without reading them. Like they're one word, I can do this, and it like your watch, and I don't have to read them.
Oh, that would drive me batshit crazy.
You want to know how many emails I have that are unread?
Well, emails I don't care about.
15,709.
Well, between my personal and my professional emails, I'm probably somewhere around 4,000 right now.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a lot of junk.
It's a lot of junk. There's a lot of like when you go somewhere and they're like, we need your email address. I'm like, oh, thank you, Bed Bath & Beyond. You don't even exist anymore.
Those coupons were nice.
Right, I know, but like, how am I still getting emails from Bed Bath & Beyond when we don't have a Bed Bath & Beyond?
Oh, goodness. I really think that the check bag fees should be incorporated into the ticket. What are they doing?
I don't know, but Arrigo says it's to pay the baggage handlers because a check bag requires more work. I'm like, that's not the reason they said they were going up, though.
Right.
They said they were going up to keep up with fuel prices. It might be, you got to deal with baggage. You got to deal with people who have to throw your bag on a conveyor belt and then put the bag on the right plane. I get that.
It's the bag.
They had to do that yesterday too.
Hold on. I know Paul. Paul's a good dude, but it's the Baton Rouge Airport.
Curmudgeon.
It's the Baton Rouge Airport. They're not calling the stones across Egypt to build the pyramids, guys.
Right. That's what I want to do in my retirement. I want to drive that little cart that carries all the bags from the terminal to the plane. I want to do that. Little snake cart that has all the bags on it. That's what I want to do.
So, place we need to go that I love now. It's that new ramen shop on Government. It's near Acadian.
You keep telling me about
Dude,
that.
I went with Vincent. I've gone with Stu. I'm going to bring Haldane.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's got a robot.
No,
it's got a robot that delivers food.
That's what I've heard. Because, people go places for lunch. I hear people go places for lunch.
It's true.
I know.
You don't get to go to lunch.
I'll be at Rotary for lunch today.
Yeah.
I'll probably get an invite at 11:45 on Friday to go to Veracruz.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Glad you're not bitter.
Just saying. 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt, rolling right along. Actually, legally served is now certified as one of the favorite segments here. I'm at the gym yesterday, Franz, and shout out to my new friend, the trucker who's driving all around Baton Rouge in the morning, zipping back and forth. He says he listens to the show every day and really appreciates when you and I are going back and forth on the law. I did not get his name, though.
This is gold.
I didn't get his name, though.
I had somebody come up to me on Easter Sunday from our church, and they walked up and said, hey, I really love you and Brian. But he said it in such a way like he had to be quiet about, and he was embarrassed to admit it. And I was like, own it, dude.
Was he in church or out of church?
It was after Mass.
Okay.
So Easter Sunday's the loudest post-Mass.
You got to shout over the bells.
Dude. I can't. Look, you need to do some historical research on how long have we done the segment?
Since day one. Since the very beginning.
I've said it. This segment could become its own little Brian and Franz show unto itself.
Probably. Yeah. Probably. But the number
Gordon, get it finance.
The number 2 rule in entertainment is always leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
So but by the way, a shout out to my new friend from the gym. I had 90s hip hop blaring in my ears and I was zoned out in my workout, but very, very appreciative of the feedback to be sure. So but he gave you a little shout out right there. Said when you and Franz are talking, that's when he's dialed in. So good stuff. We got one more topic to cover this morning, Franz. And shout out to Debbie for sending this one over. She's in the chat on a regular basis,
Mhm.
part of the glorified crew. The headline from Unfiltered with Karen: Jason Chasson sentenced after deadly Tickfall boating crash that killed 2 and injured 5 others. Jason Chasson, the man operating a 25-foot Sea Fox vessel that collided with a party pontoon barge and killed 2 people last July, was sentenced Friday in a Livingston Parish courtroom. Chasson pleaded no contest on July 7th to reduce charges, including 2 counts of negligent homicide and 5 counts of negligent injuring. A judge sentenced him to 5 years for each negligent homicide charge to run consecutively, with all but 1 year suspended on each.
Came in
So-
as a vehicular homicide.
Isn't it though?
Vehicular homicide generally means that there was what in your system?
Booze,
Or
alcohol, marijuana.
drugs.
Yeah.
It was reduced now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess my first question is how do you feel about that sentence?
Horrible for the families.
How much time do you think he should have gotten?
If he
Maxed out at 5 and 5?
maxed out at 5 and 5 sounds reasonable to me.
10 years would have made you feel okay. He
Yeah.
does about 85% of that.
Right,
So 8.5 years.
right,
1 year's not enough. 8.5 is
about right.
Okay.
He's
Well-
taken 2 lives.
Okay. So the first thing to remember, and again, I don't have a dog in this hunt. The criminal defense attorney in me would say to you, that's a good win for that defense attorney.
Yeah,
And that individual.
it's a good win for Chasson as well.
I would want to know what was wrong with that case such that they made that deal. What did he do to mitigate that they
Mhm.
made that deal? And those may be 2 different things. Okay. What is wrong with that case? Was there some issue or element that the prosecution had a problem with such that they wouldn't have been able to prove vehicular homicide? Okay. Or did this guy do a whole bunch of mitigation to show that he deserved a reduced sentence or a reduced plea to, and by the way, negligent homicide is a non-crime of violence, believe it or not. So he actually, I think he does about the same amount, depending on when the crime happened, he does a little bit less time. So I'm just giving you some insight here. I'm giving you behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the victims were afforded a victim's impact statement.
Right.
I would imagine that he doesn't have much of a criminal record, because I can't imagine them cutting this deal if he had any kind of significant criminal record. What this deal says is we're going to give you a chance to prove us wrong. He's got 9 years suspended hanging over his head. He gets out of jail. He'll be on probation.
Mm-hmm.
And if he messes up on probation, he goes back to jail for 9 years.
Sure.
I'm
That's a
just
pretty
giving
big
you the
if.
land. I'm just giving you the landscape.
Pretty big if.
So what I thought was interesting was some of the impact statements or impact statement was about the message that this sentence sends, which is there's not much of a consequence.
Correct.
For and let's be very specific. This is boating. We're in South Louisiana.
Yeah,
This is possibly driving a boat while impaired.
possibly.
Okay.
Now here's the thing, and like when we say terms like possibly, neither one of us was involved
no,
in this case.
I don't know the.
We
I
don't have
know
the legal
facts.
record of it. We
Right.
just have what's reported
I
in the
am
media.
drawing that.
I'm just making.
But
a
I
clarification.
do feel comfortable saying this. If you're going to charge someone with vehicular homicide, one of the critical elements of vehicular homicide is the presence of alcohol or drugs.
So if you
Not beyond the legal limit.
just presence.
Just the presence such that it would maybe cause the accident.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting though, because if like let's say I'm looking down at my cell phone on the interstate and I run over,
Not vehicular homicide.
really
That's negligent homicide.
okay,
That is like the textbook
but I
definition.
use my vehicle.
Here's
to do
one
it.
for you you're going to love and get slightly uncomfortable with. Are you ready? Are you both buckled up?
Yeah.
Ready? You can be at fault and hit my car. Okay? You hit my car. You're perfectly stone cold sober.
Okay.
I have alcohol in my system. Your passenger dies.
Oof.
Your fault. Guess what Franz can be charged with?
Vehicular homicide.
Right. The idea is
Wow.
that will keep you up at night a little bit.
A little bit.
Now, the reality is that kind of case,
Yeah.
that's a negligent homicide or something else. So I don't disagree with the victims on this one. This kind of sends a weird
A
message.
very, very weak
But again,
message.
in the vacuum of we don't know all the facts of the case.
Right.
So there may be a big issue out there in this case that we don't know about.
I don't know. It's just when death occurs,
Mm-hmm.
premature death occurs, when someone's life is taken because of an incident.
What if you're not on your cell phone, you're not in alcohol, and you just get into a car accident?
Right.
Because we have bad drivers here.
Well,
and
yeah.
somebody dies.
Whose fault was it?
Should that
Whose
be
fault was the
should
accident?
that be a negligent homicide?
Yes.
I mean, should that person go to jail if it was just an accident? No alcohol, no phone?
If the accident was their fault,
that's interesting.
We gotta
happen.
bounce. No, I understand that, but if sometimes things happen that are people's fault. Hour 2's next.
So, fun fact, they sell McDonald's coffee grounds in the grocery store. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
And you would buy that?
I drink it.
Well,
It's not my first.
It's already made.
It's not my first choice. My first choice is community, and I make that. I do pour over at the house, but in a pinch, dude, it's transactional. I'm sorry. Sometimes caffeine is transactional. Where's your energy drinks? Sometimes it's just about I need my hit, my bump.
Understood.
Just a bump. I'd like to have a sit-down talk with Paul about the airport in a good way, because I really do love the Baton Rouge airport, but like the baggage fees, that gets under my skin, because in the same way that a re-registration fee at a school that you've been going to for several years gets under my skin, just charge me more and don't insult my intelligence. That's where I get offended. It's not the additional. Not crazy about the additional money, but I get offended by the you must think I'm stupid. Because the baggage fees being a part of fuel costs.
Baggage fees being part of fuel costs, fuel didn't go up that much.
Now, when you fly business class, you get that free bag. I mean,
so yeah, upgrade. Hey.
Upgrade spelled with 2 D's
from Idiocracy.
Later,
Franz. Thank you.
Now a check on your drive.
7:05. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Breland producing. Starting off your 7 o'clock hour at 54 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we're broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. Not your IT provider, your IT partner. Learn more at 180pros.com. Diving into the 6th congressional district race this hour, Larry Davis is running. He is in studio in about 10 minutes from right now. We're going to learn a little bit more about who he is, what his motivations are, what sparks someone to run, especially against an incumbent who won by a pretty good margin. So Larry's coming up in our next segment. Also this hour, we're going to talk carbon sequestration, about one project that's going to be going on at St. Landry Parish and how it's being received. Van Reed slated to join us at 7:35. Right now, though, top stories and trending. Let's go. Governor Jeff Landry signed an executive order creating the Office of Rural Health, Transformation, and Sustainability within the Louisiana Department of Health. The new office will lead the state's implementation of Louisiana's Rural Health Transformation Program, which is supported by more than $208 million in federal funding. Louisiana's award is among the highest in the nation and positions the state to draw down more than $1 billion in total funding over the next 5 years. Louisiana Seafood Cook-Off will be held in Jefferson Parish for the first time this year. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and the Seafood Promotion and Marketing Board said yesterday the 19th annual competition will take place at the Pontchartrain Center out in Kenner. It's coming up on June 26th. The winner of that will represent the state at the Great American Seafood Cook-Off to be held July 25th at the Montreal Convention Center in New Orleans. The Baton Rouge Police Department is currently accepting applications for its annual Citizens Academy. It's an 8-week course giving participants a firsthand experience of local law enforcement. Experiences include police academy training, 911 dispatch, gun range tour, firearm demonstrations, and a whole lot more. The class will meet on Tuesday evenings, 6 to 8:30 p.m. over at the BRPD headquarters. One man was injured in a targeted shooting over on Sherwood Street. BRPD said officials responded to a shooting around 5 p.m. at the intersection of Sherwood Street and Elm Drive. Police say a 45-year-old man was shot in the abdomen. That's all the information that was released on this. LSU's launching a new a bachelor's degree in artificial intelligence this fall, positioning itself among a small but growing group of universities nationwide, offering undergrad programs focused specifically on AI. The new degree, which will be offered through LSU's College of Engineering, is designed to prepare students to build, analyze, and deploy modern AI systems across industries ranging from energy to healthcare.
The U.S. and Iran have reached an agreement on a 2-week ceasefire with the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz.
Awesome. Very good. Let's take
Very
that.
awesome.
Yeah, I know, because the threats yesterday by the president were so over the top. It's so vile. But like when I read that post, I was 100% like, there's no way he doesn't mean this. He's just shouting really loud to get a deal done.
Yep.
And imagine that a deal got done. But like, the number of people who are rightfully disgusted by the post.
Yes. You had the UN chief and the Pope even condemning U.S. President Donald Trump.
If you threaten to wipe an entire people off the face of the map, if you're essentially threatening genocide, then you probably should be held in check for that. But right. I didn't read it as if he meant it. I don't know. Maybe that's what
I'm with you. I read it as, I've had enough. This is what I'm having to say. Let's come up with something.
Right. It's like if you were driving to vacation when you were a kid and your father said, I'm going to turn this car around. No, you're not.
He ain't really.
No, you're not. You're going to lose the deposit on the condo in Orange Beach. You're not turning around.
Right.
No, this thing's already paid for. Don't make idle threats. And I took that as an idle threat.
Right, correct. All right, Republican Clay Fuller, who had President Trump's endorsement, has won a special election in Georgia's 14th congressional district to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yep. And I don't know what that means for the rest of the elections this year. Oh, here's the thing.
I don't either,
We've got a Senate race and a congressional race that both have the president's endorsement coming up, okay?
Right.
Julia Letlow's got President Trump's endorsement in the Senate race. Blake Miguez has the president's endorsement in the 5th. So when Marjorie Taylor Greene left the House off of, spats with the president and having a disconnect with the president, the question was, will her district follow in that same regard? Clearly they did not. Now, it's important to remember back, Marjorie Taylor Greene was very, very, very pro-Trump until she wasn't. So, until she wasn't. But are we breaking this down too much to try and get an inkling of what this means for other elections? Or was this on its own?
I'm with you. I'm curious to see, will the endorsements by President Trump have the leverage it does for all the other elections? I'm curious.
Yep.
All right. Delta Airlines is raising checked bag fees by up to $50 as soaring jet fuel costs ripple through the airline industry.
So shout out to former head of Visit Baton Rouge, Paul Arrigo. We were talking about this before. And my thought was, if the cost of jet fuel is the problem, then the weight is the problem, right? You're slapping $50 on a bag because it's added weight to the plane. If the cost of jet fuel is the problem. My takeaway is, let's get you, your bag, your carry-on, whatever you're adding to the plane's weight, let's get you on one big scale and just net this out. Like, how much if Breland is traveling, what does Breland add to the whole flight? Whether you're talking bags, clothes, souvenirs, and your own person, whatever. Versus we're going to slap a $50 charge on a bag when you can have a 100-pound person adding a bag on and a 250-pound person adding a bag on, and they're going to be charged the same when the 250-pound person clearly is going to cost you more jet fuel. Now, shout out to Paul Arrigo, who used to head up Visit Baton Rouge. He says it costs money for airline to handle bags. I understand that. All day long. There are added people involved in this equation, but that's not what Delta said. Delta said it's because of the rising cost of jet fuel, not the rising cost of Earl who's flinging your bag on the plane.
Right. Correct. You have a very good point, because what if I just go on a plane to catch a red eye and I carry my purse on the plane and that's it?
Right.
And I have the same cost as some Joe who's bringing all his luggage in his family.
No, he's got a $50 more.
Right.
Because if he's bringing a bag. If you're not bringing a checked bag, you're fine.
Right.
So, but yeah.
But still.
Right. My ticket and your ticket would cost the same. I weigh significantly more than you. So that's if you brought a bag with you, you're going to get hit with an extra $50 when you're still probably netting out less than me.
You bring up a good point.
Quick, we got a break coming up in just a second. I do need to remind you about Landmark Bank, landmarkbankla.com, community bank since 1897, y'all. That's half the nation's history. A community bank since 1897, and they've remained as such. Love telling you about Landmark Bank, because when I'm talking about Landmark Bank, I'm talking about bankers, talking about members of your community. Which community are we talking about here? Well, visit landmarkbankla.com, hit the About Us tab, the little drop down right there, locations and hours will be available for you. And it's important to have a banker. It's important to have someone that you can get to know, someone who can help you along the way. If you're talking about saving, if you're talking about investing, if you're talking about borrowing, if you're talking about retiring, or if you're talking about getting, something as simple as your kid's first checking account. All these things factor in. When you have a banker, you get better direction and better answers. You're not just some number on a P&L sheet on some bank in Midtown Manhattan. You have a banker at Landmark Bank at landmarkbankla.com. Quick break. Larry Davis is up next.
I'll let Brian tell you. I can see the airport weigh-ins looking like an MMA weigh-in. People stripping down to their underwear.
Why would you strip? Okay, now I'm going to hold them on this one. Why would you strip to your underwear? You're not going to be in the plane in your underwear. You're going to be in your clothes on the plane. Oh. You're right here. Larry, Bree-Lynn, Larry. And she's going to snap off a couple pictures there, and I'll text them to you. Yeah. We'll use one when we post the audio on demand later on, which you're also free to share. And I don't know what your social media or video, your video editing skills are, but we're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. If you wanted to, the whole show is up there. But if you wanted to pull your segment off, have at it. Just tag us. Yeah. Talking about airports heading into the break, got to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website over there. FlyBTR.com. Daily flight to Washington, D.C. leaves out in the 6 o'clock hour every morning, and you don't even have to make a hotel reservation because the return flight is the same evening. FlyBTR.com. And that flight to Washington, D.C., one of many great available flights at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. When you're making your travel plans, take into account the whole experience. If you want to subtract an hour's drive to get down to New Orleans, you could do that. If you want to add the convenience of the touchless parking we have here, you could do that. If you want to compare and contrast TSA here versus TSA there, these are all factors when you're making your travel plans. And then, of course, there's the flights themselves. I'm looking at the arrivals and departures for the morning, and yeah, everything's looking good. Well, I say that. Waiting on the plane in from Washington, D.C., so the plane can go back to Washington, D.C. Everything else is running completely on schedule. I check it every morning over at flybtr.com. All right. We've got closed primaries coming up roughly a month and a week from now, actually. And there will be a big Senate race. There will be 6 congressional races. One of those congressional races will be Louisiana's 6th congressional district. Joining us now is a candidate in the 6th district race, Larry Davis. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. Glad to be here this morning.
Glad to have you on. We're going to get into your why and what's important to you in a little while. I just want to start with who you are. Let's give the background. Who is Larry Davis?
Yeah, that's the hardest part for me to talk about myself. But I am 28 years old. Originally from North Baton Rouge, a worker. I work 40 hours a week, just like most Americans, and just devoted to my community, a community servant. That's who I am.
Born in North Baton Rouge, but you're out in Denham now.
Yes, sir. Livingston Parish.
So the website says Denham Springs High School.
Yes.
So
2015.
Wow. All right. So 28, a little young to be sure. What's sparking you to run in this race?
Our country. We're losing the fabric of what holds a country together, which is the family unit. And the conservative leaders or Republican leaders that we have sent to Washington, even those in the liberal side of things, are not doing what they said that they would do and advocating from the place of the family. Right now, we control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and we have yet to stop abortion. We have yet to put restrictions on taking advantage of marriage and the attack on the family. And so we need those principles put back in place. Brian, I see you want to say something.
Well, yeah, let's start on the abortion front. I'm going to push back a little bit. There has been movement on that from abortion being legal across the board to being pushed back down to the states, which was where it belonged beforehand. Would you want to have reign over individual states when it comes to their laws?
So the Supreme Court ruling on the abortion matter and pushing it back to states' rights was illegitimate when they decided to rule on marriage. And so the Supreme Court ruled on marriage in Obergefell and said that the federal government had the right to say what was defined as marriage. And then when we come to the murdering of the unborn, they say that needs to go back to states' rights. My opinion on that is murder is murder. It doesn't have anything to do with state sovereignty as much as the federal government should be in charge to say that the murder of the unborn is murder and it is wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's not done. No civilized nation can survive and thrive at the hands of murder of the unborn. And that's just a belief that I have, that we have to start there to have discussions about anything else.
Do you lead with that issue because it's your number one issue, or do you lead with that issue because you know it's going to, it's an attention grabber?
It is my number one issue. The way that I look at life and the way in scripture it tells us is that no civilization can survive when we allow the murder of our unborn. But also the next step to that, going back to marriage, we have to put traditional marriage back at the forefront of our conversations. And what does that look like? That means that before someone gets into a marriage, we need to make sure they have those counseling opportunities. We don't need to pollute the field with what marriage is. Not taking rights away from individuals who choose a non-traditional marriage, but we can't redefine definitions. That's what we're doing in this nation. We're redefining what a man and a woman is. We're redefining what a boy and a girl is. And we can't keep redefining words that have true definitions. So if people choose untraditional marriages, it needs to be called a union or partnership and have the same legal provisions. But marriage is between a man and a woman, and it is given by the church.
Well, but marriage is abused just as much by a man and a woman, if not more so.
Yeah.
Divorce rates included in that. I mean, you're going to see it a lot more on the quote unquote traditional side, where it's cast aside and discarded.
Yes.
Is that the law's job to take care of? Because like you said, this belongs in the church.
Yes. So I do not believe in ecclesiastical law. So ecclesiastical law tells you when to go to church, how to go to church. I believe in the civil law principles of what scripture tells us. Now, to answer your question about marriage, the reason that you see the high divorce rates, even going back with abortion, because all that goes along, we don't see the same structure that once was when it came to marriage. You used to have to sue for divorce. Now you can just get a divorce within 30 days and pay a low fee. We need to put those structures back into what it takes to get married, what it takes to have a child. People need to start to think and process, what does marriage look like? How do I enter into this relationship? Not just something that is off the cuff, but something that provides thought, something that provides planning before someone enters into it. Not government mandated, but we need to put those same strongholds that were in place in the 80s back in place, that we have slowly started to claw back.
What do you mean what it takes to have a child?
Finances. Are we ready? Are we prepared to have a child? Because we see also that most children today that have to even go through divorce are sometimes born in poverty. So children are not something that everybody is called to have. So we want to make sure that
you're running for Congress.
Yeah.
You can't legislate that. I have 3 children. I probably wouldn't have passed the application on the first 2 if I had to meet a minimum financial requirement.
Application?
Yeah.
What application do you have to fill out to have a
child?
child?
You talked about what you have to do to have a child.
Not an application. So the same counseling methods that people go to before they get married is the same provisions that we need to have. We already have conversations about family planning and things. My goal is to make sure that finances and resources are put in place so that when families do decide to have a child, those resources are there and they can seek the guidance to have it. It's not an application process. It's not a filling out a paper thing, and it's not legislative. It's advocating that family planning and discussions are had with people before they decide to have children. Having children is a big conversation to have.
1,000%.
Getting married is a big
My
decision.
point is, I don't know what as a lawmaker you could do to make that law.
It's not a law. So Congress serves a multitude of facets. The first job is we serve as the check and balance of the president.
Yes.
The second is that we do investigations to see, if things are legal or not. The third part of that is legislation. And I would even add the fourth part of that is advocating. That is meeting with local organizations and churches to make sure that they have the resource. We direct funding. We can partnership with Fortune 500 companies, nonprofits, NGOs, to put resources in communities that may be underserved in a multitude of facets, not legislating what people do, but providing the opportunities and open the conversation to make sure that people are fully out when making life-changing decisions.
That's interesting. I'd be curious to see how that would play out. Because, I mean, without the weight of law behind it, which, you know, the legislative branch does legislate. That's got to be number one if it's in the title.
Well, and Brian, I'll even say this, with the social contract that Lyndon Baines Johnson signed into law, he's the one that took some of these sacred things from marriage away. I mean, he created the child support. So we've seen law be legislated to the other side. My advocacy is to put it back the way it was before these ultra liberal ways were put in back in the 60s.
Bold stuff. Larry Davis is with us. He's running for Congress in the 6th Congressional District. Let's move to more of a few of the other topics that are on your website, to be sure. Plans on the economic growth front. What are you looking at?
So we see in CD6, we have what used to be a manufacturing hub in like the central part. We have Alexandria. When you drive through there, you see a lot of closed down plants, but also the central part, the heart of the Louisiana also is an agricultural front. Now this is a bold plan. I want to see agriculture. Brooke Rollins in the Trump administration is doing a phenomenal job at this. She's incentivizing American farming again. I want to see that come back to the heart of Louisiana. I want to start to find ways to supplement and incentivize farming here in Louisiana. I also believe that if you own a business and franchise in this state and in this country, you need to use American businesses for that. And I know a lot of pushback from people who agree with the sentiment of that will say, well, Larry, what about high cost?
Right.
Well, that is something that we have to balance. And the way that you do that is supply and demand. If you make the American product lower and more affordable than the foreign product, then you will see more Americans buying into that higher cost, which makes the producer make more. They can pay their employees more, and then the economy is boosted by that. But we have to get out of the mindset that we need to make American producers suffer while we go overseas and buy things from them. I don't even understand in today's time why that is not a national defense strategy. Why are we getting crawfish and shrimp from China? Do we actually know what's going on there?
Well, there's an active effort to curtail that for sure.
Yes, but we talk about active efforts. We all should be on the same page about what Americans need and the safety of America. And that's the mindset with today. We see so much gridlock on the things that benefit Americans, but the things that benefit other countries, it takes 30 days to get done. We see treaties getting signed. We see deals being made. We see money being sent overseas, but the things that affect Americans' pockets and the American way of life is things that take 5 to 10 years to get done. And I'm just tired of it.
Well said. Larry Davis is with us. He's running for Congress in the 6th. Not gonna be our last conversation because we're just scratching the surface right here, and we've only got 2 minutes to go. If you could prioritize something third, what would it be?
Ooh, if I could prioritize something third, it would be Black maternal health. That was one of the things that
maternal health.
Yes, that we just discussed. We have the highest mortality rate in the nation with Black moms. And so that's one of those things that we're not legislating that Black moms have to go and do this, but we want to provide the opportunity and resources to make sure that when you give birth in America, you're not at risk.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the biggest things that we see is happening across the nation. And we want to be able to put a dent in that and stop it.
Got a minute and a half left. I want to pivot over and just talk about generally running for Congress. Yeah. How's the campaign trail, man? You got to do a lot of retail and wholesale on a congressional level, especially when you look at this jacked up district.
Jacked up is the word for it. It's been fun. Brian, the job of a congressional representative and candidate is to talk to the people. So we go out to the people, and my job is to listen. And then in the middle, I get to talk to people like you who help us get the word out, who challenge us on our policy, which is an awesome thing. And I get to represent the greatest state in the world.
Very well said. So, he is Larry Davis, running for Congress in the 6th. If you wanted to check out the website, it's as simple as LarryDavisForCongress.com. Yeah, we're going to get you back in one more time to be sure. to pick up the conversation where we left off. It's just
Absolutely.
sometimes the clock catches up with us. Larry, greatly appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you, Brian.
We are due up for news, traffic, weather. On the back end of that, we're going to pivot over to the carbon sequestration topic because there's a project out there headed towards St. Landry Parish, and we are going to get an insider's view, if you will, from Van Reed, going to join us to talk about that. It's one project, one anecdotal story that's coming up next right here on Talk 107.3.
Awesome.
And we're still on Facebook during the break. So,
Okay.
Well done.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you for pushing.
Of course.
Because look, some people give us softball. It's like challenge. Like the first news interview I did last Friday, we didn't know. He asked me 10 questions. I'm like, this is good. This is great. Because most of them, they only give you the 3 why, who, when, where. And it's like most people don't get to know the part. You know?
Well, you need to refine your message on the front end because that I think, especially when you said what was it you said about what it takes to have a child? Dude, it did sound like you have to fill out an the way you said it was like you're proposing an application. It says, do you read this financially? But like it just but like a better front end on that answer. But good stuff overall.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You had some pictures.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
and
She's gonna send them to me. I'll text them over to you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
I'm Jeff Palermo with Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge News. Bills designed to attract aerospace companies to Louisiana are heading to the House floor.
Is Van Reed calling us?
Legislation will provide
Should be.
profit and sales tax breaks to companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin who make and launch rockets. The governor's chief of staff, Julie Everson, testified in favor of the bill.
Louisiana is trying to remain competitive with
There he
the
is.
states and provide a welcoming environment.
Talk 107.3.
It's increasingly growing, and we would like for it to grow its footprint in Louisiana.
Hi, Van. Yes, sir. We're going to be coming to you in 2 minutes. And when I put you on hold, Brian's going to pick up on his end. Okay.
2031 and create 200 new jobs to receive an annual rebate of state and local sales taxes.
It gets like so knotted up on
Yeah.
the side.
Says they've seen a big increase this year in the number of registered voters who have been put on their inactive voting list. Landry says you get on this list by not voting for 10 years and not responding to an address confirmation card sent through the mail.
Get an active confirmation card in the mail, return it, and let us know that you do live there, because that's how we keep our voter rolls clean.
There are 455,000 people listed as inactive voters, but they can still vote in the upcoming primaries, but they will have to show proof of where they live when they show up to the voting booth. Artemis 2 is making its return to Earth after a successful trip around the moon. The Orion spacecraft, which was
Oh, he's closing his eyes and some of them. I sent you a good one, though.
Okay. Wait, yeah, can you send me like 2 or 3 if there are?
LSU astronomy professor Eric Burns says the biggest issue has been
You're closing your eyes. I sent you a good one. I'm just going to have to snap. Snap, snap, snap.
Splashdown is scheduled for Friday night just off the coast of San Diego. That's a look at news. I'm Jeff Palermo, Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
How old is Larry? He's only 28.
28.
He's very well spoken.
Yes. Yeah, he needs to work on how he leads his conversations off.
Oh,
But-
I know. He enunciates, is what I'm saying. Like, he's
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Was that the only good one you had?
Huh.
Was that the only good one you had? Right.
That somebody comes in, I'm just gonna snap. I'll take video. I'll start doing different angles too. There was one where you and him were closing your eyes.
Overnight, skies remain partly cloudy as lows dip into the upper 50s. Sunny clouds mixed in Thursday with a slight chance for a shower, highs near 80. It stays warm and humid for the weekend. Little or no rain is expected. Afternoon highs.
I should have did a portrait. I didn't even think about it because I normally do two different angles.
Channel 2, where news becomes conversation. 1073.
Back. 736 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Taking you to St. Landry Parish right now. According to stlandrynow.com, St. Landry Parish municipal and parish officials announced on Thursday a $373,500 ExxonMobil corporate funding initiative, which will eventually create a parish-wide geographic information system. Parish President Jesse Ballard said establishing the GIS system will allow a number of parish departments, first responders, and 911 to interconnect in real time with a mapping system that provides updated and accurate locational information. Van Reed's on with us right now, joining us to talk about this and what it could lead to. Van, welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good this morning. It's early, though. It's early for me, but I'm here.
I mean, we're at the halfway point of the show, so
Yeah.
early,
I don't get up this early. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. I'm all right.
Early gets to be relative. So, you run the parish office of emergency preparedness out there. Tell me a little bit about this partnership with ExxonMobil and what GIS is going to mean for y'all.
So it started. I've been with the parish for 6 years. It started 5 years ago. Sat down, going to conferences, learning about GIS. How can we make that happen in St. Landry Parish? It's expensive. And we didn't want to do it on just one office. We wanted to do it parish-wide. Mm-hmm. Exxon came in and they said that they were looking for community partnerships with us. And I threw out the GIS mapping system, at $370,000. I was like, well, it's worth a shot. We did other things like generators and AEDs and things like that. And Exxon was really interested in the GIS system, and they wrote us a check. And we're in the first stages of implementing it. We hired a GIS person who will start at the end of the month. Mm-hmm. The whole idea is that we get everybody on board on the same mapping system: first responders, emergency management, permitting office, 911 addressing, the tax assessor, sheriff's office, our public works. So we can share information between each other, making it real-time, fast, seamless, and the backside of it is what we'll see, but we'll also present maps to the public so the public can see what districts they're in and what roads are under construction, or what roads are closed, or if there's flooding in an area like that. We can put that on a map so the public can see that as well. The back end of it will be working with fire departments, police departments, 911, things like that. So it's a real parish-wide initiative, and honestly, we could not have done it without ExxonMobil.
So let's talk a little bit about what the difference between a geographic information system map and just a map is. Like, what are we looking at? What's being recorded with this information?
So we can drive down the street and we can map fire hydrants. We can map, culverts. We can map drainage systems. We can map the water system, the way the water flows. Any map, like Google Map, you can do that as well. But with the GIS system, we can put real-time data into it. We can put road conditions in it. If I put a fire hydrant, I can put the last time I serviced that fire hydrant. That can be shared between the fire department, between public works. We can all see it behind the scenes. It brings real-time data and fast data that you wouldn't get like in a Google Map system.
Is it all surface level?
No, I mean, we can do elevations. We can do underneath the ground. We can map things under the ground. We can map. It's unbelievable what you can map. I just attended the National Hurricane Conference in Orlando. Mm-hmm. One of the things they were showing that they mapped were debris. So they bring piles of debris from the road they picked up. They stick it in a pile. the GIS mapping system can do a measurement of the elevation of that debris, and they can see exactly how much debris they pulled off the roads in that one day.
Really?
It's amazing what the mapping system can do. If you have someone who can program it, that's the thing. Not just any Joe can come off the street and build. You can drop a point in Google Map, but it's going to be a little different in a GIS system.
Talk to me a little bit about the partnership with ExxonMobil here, because this sounds like it's a lot deeper than just cutting a check. Y'all are working together.
Yeah, so ExxonMobil wants to invest in the parish. They've already done some work with us on pipelines, and now they're looking in carbon capture. St. Landry Parish is extremely rural, and we're extremely poor. So any type of investment we can make in the parish, we're going to jump at. We do our homework on everything, and we really explored wind farms, solar farms, and carbon capture. ExxonMobil wants to put a carbon capture plant in our parish. It's a great investment for the parish. And so we've been working behind the scenes with them to make it, they're a responsible company doing a responsible investment in our parish. It's not just come put up a plant and leave.
Right.
They're interested in what our community needs and what our community does. And I think the GIS system and the parish-wide GIS system.
Sure.
So Melville Police Department can use this. Fire District 3 can use this. We'll all be able to talk to each other. It's parish-wide. It's not just one entity. And so Exxon made that investment to help out the entire parish.
Well, and
it just serves our people so much better,
right,
when we have this type of investment that the parish itself can't afford.
Talk with Van Reed from St. Landry Parish, heads up emergency preparedness out there. Van, that was why I asked you the question about surface level or if there's depth involved. Because if ExxonMobil's looking at carbon capture, we got to get beneath the surface. Talk to me a little bit about how that level of openness and mapping, and really mapping is going to lead to transparency. That level of transparency on the front end can put a community at ease on the back end.
Yeah, so I'm not a scientist on this or engineer, so I don't know how the system actually works when you go into ground level and above level. And I'm on the surface. I understand how the mapping system can work. So I'm not really into the technical side of it, but the transparency wise of it, we'll be able to show anything on the map, especially in an emergency. We can quickly show, if there's a leakage or something like that, we can show where the area is, where the avoided. We can put those maps up real time for the public to see. The public is aware of what's going on. We can even put, we can do a map on the build of the facility so they know what's coming in and what's going out and how far along the progress is. It all comes down to, if you can dream it and you can build it, you can show it to the public. And that's what we really want to do, is we want to be as transparent as possible and show as much information to the public as possible, but do it in a way that's easy to read, because, I can't ask the average guy off the street to get into the programming behind the map to see what they won't understand what we're doing. But if we can show it in a graphical format with a dashboard or a real-time map, that's what we expect the public to be able to see. And it'll help the public understand the progress of any project we're doing, not just the carbon capture project.
Why, that was okay. So you answered my question, even though you let off by saying you couldn't answer the question. My question wasn't about the
science behind it.
Yeah, my question wasn't about the science behind it. My question was that if the science is visible and the science is there, even if you have to call on someone who specializes in that to do that, the information's there. And you talk about community partners in that regard. One of the things that gets lost in the whole carbon capture discussion is the partnership.
Yeah. But again, we couldn't have done the GIS system without them. Mm-hmm. And we're in talks with them on some other issues as well. But they want to be a community partner. They've already done programs for us on pipeline safety. They pulled together some fire districts and police districts on the eastern side of the parish where it's extremely rural, and those districts need help. Mm-hmm. And training is expensive, and most of those departments are volunteers, so you can't go to Texas to the Pipeline Training Institute to learn how to respond to a pipeline. Exxon brought that here in the parish. That's the kind of partnerships we want. We want them to be in our community and be embedded in our community and help out first responders or any department, our permitting office, public works, etc. So,
talk with Van Reed from St. Landry Parish as they've been working together with ExxonMobil, doing a little GIS mapping out that way on the way to a carbon capture project. What's the project look like? How much do you know about what St. Landry's or what's being invested in St. Landry on the carbon capture front?
I don't know a whole lot about it. I know we're in the initial stages of it, and I know that they've identified a site somewhere around the Palmetto area, which is a extremely rural area with farmlands and that sort of area that's not very well populated. So I think it'll be a nice spot for them. Fire District 2 is right there available to them. Palmetto Fire Department's available to them if they need anything. I know we're in the initial stages of this project. I think we're waiting on some type of legislation or something like that. But I know the project is moving forward, and we're going to do what we can to help out, just like we helped out with the solar farms in the parish. We're going to do everything we can to help out to move this project because it's an investment in St. Landry Parish. And, government can't do everything.
Right.
Can't afford to do everything. And so partnerships like this are key to moving the parish forward.
Well, talk to me a little bit as, in your role as the director for emergency preparedness out there. Talk to me a little bit about how you embrace a relationship like this. What would, what helps you along the way to say a big thumbs up for it?
So I talked about it earlier, the partnerships with them, with the training on the pipeline training, and then they'll do training as well, for how to respond to anything incident at carbon capture. Those are valuable experiences that our local departments can't afford. We can't afford in the emergency management office to be able to send people off to these types of trainings. We have to do them here. We have a small training center in Opelousas that probably could use some upgrades. But if ExxonMobil can bring the training to us, that helps out tremendously because it takes the burden off of our departments who have very limited budgets. And, most of them are volunteers. So they can't go to a workshop in Texas for a week and leave their families and leave the department empty-handed. So these types of partnerships, I think, are key to moving any parish forward with government money like it is today, where we sometimes struggle to be able to pay for things. These types of partnerships are key to moving the parish forward.
Well, it personifies and humanizes. I mean, at the end of the day, you hear a name like ExxonMobil, that's a big old name right there. But when you break it down on your municipality, when you break it down on your parish level, it changes the game greatly to where you can enter the word partnership into the equation. We got about 2 minutes left talking with Van Reed out in St. Sorry for the pun. Map me out in real time. How long does it take to get this GIS mapping done and implementation for this upcoming project?
So a couple of key things that we already had in place. 911 already has a GIS system that they use for addressing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be able to take those maps that are already there with the street and the addressing. We'll be able to take those maps and drop them into the parish-wide GIS system. I think we're about to announce that 911 won an award for their GIS system. It'll be at a national conference in San Diego. So we're getting a very good base map of what they have. The tax assessor has a GIS mapping system where they do the plots, and we'll be able to take those as well and overlay them into the mapping system. Okay. And then we're working with the Acadiana Planning Commission as well. They've done some GIS mapping system. We have a GIS company that we've worked with for election precinct mapping. We'll be able to pull that data in as well. So we'll have all this data. And then we hired a GIS guy. We actually stole him from Tangipahoa Parish. He's moving to Ville Platte to relocate to take care of family members, and we picked him up right away. He built the GIS mapping system in Tangipahoa from the ground up.
Oh wow!
So we're gonna bring him in here. He's gonna start working for us at the end of April. And he'll take those maps and see, if he can put them all together and build layers with them and make them all work together. And then we'll meet with all the community partners, the tax assessor, the permits office, public works. We'll meet with the fire departments, police departments, and we'll see what their wish list is and then how we can manipulate that wish list. It's not an overnight process, but since we have such good base maps, we should be able to easily move the system along pretty quickly.
So it does sound like it's going to at least get started in very short order. Van Reed, appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. No problem.
Absolutely. You too. 750. Here's your money now. What up, Chris? guy that lets you in, he makes the exact same drive. Forrest? Yeah. Yeah. So, I've got a couple quick segments to knock out before yours.
Yeah, no. Look,
if you want to, we get the Keurig out there if you want a coffee or water or whatever.
Get a water out.
Yeah.
What shows go out of this?
1045 is one floor up.
Okay, got it.
But Eagle 98.1 is surge down there, and 107 is Console.
Got it.
So, but honestly, most of that is voice tracked by locals. So it might be done in the studio. It might be done in a recording studio across the hall, whatever. But it all comes. I mean, it's our three stations are all based right here. 1045 has a studio right there, but everything's done out of the video. Everything except for OTT is done out of the video studio. Well, that counts as my Exxon live read because that whole segment was about Exxon. So. Probably. While you're in town? Yeah. 9 pitchers. 9 pitchers, man. $7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Before we get you to this day in history, take a quick moment to remind you about 180 Pros. 180pros.com is the website. At 180 Pros, they're not your IT provider, they're your IT partner. What does that mean exactly? Well, it means you're going to get same-day response time, which is unbelievably valuable, especially if you're a small business. If you're a small business and something's wrong with your network, it can be paralyzing. Absolutely. Well, if you're a small business and something wrong with your network, don't you want to have the reassurance that you have someone local, someone who's here in Baton Rouge, who can get to your place the same day, who can get dialed in, get started on fixing whatever might be wrong? That's what they do at 180 Pros, is when they're local and they are your partner, you're going to get same day response time. Also, simplified billing cannot be oversold. Simplified billing, get yourself a one-page invoice. You don't need to spend half your time as a small business owner breaking down an invoice that runs from here to Prairieville. 180 Pros, 180pros.com. Time for This Day in History.
Pretty cool stuff. In 1964, Gemini 1, NASA's first uncrewed Gemini test mission launch, helped paving the way for later crewed space flights and eventually the moon program.
Okay.
The beginning of the beginning.
Yeah, while Artemis is out there.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I had to throw that in today.
Very good.
All right. Today in 1975, Monty Python and the Holy Grail hits U.S. theaters, which proves, yes, that comedy used to be way weirder and better.
Yeah.
At one point in time, comedy was better. I'll be honest, the whole movie feels like somebody lost a bed and said, yeah, we'll go ahead and fund it. Come on. Come on, let's go.
All right.
1983, David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear, one of the biggest televised illusion events of the era, turned it to this whole pop spectacle, a huge TV event culture. It was everywhere at the time.
Could you imagine if there was social media then?
Oh, God. And they would have ripped him a new one at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
In 1994, it was unfortunate Kurt Cobain was found dead on April 8th in Seattle. Important accuracy note here. Most references list April 5th as the date he died, but April 8th is when he was discovered.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. In 2022, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week. U.S. Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science bans Will Smith from attending the Oscars for 10 years after he slapped Chris Rock. And we played that audio. I think it was last week.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay, what else you got?
I think it was exactly 1 week ago today.
Yes.
Franz was in when we did that. As far as what happened on this day in 1974, Hank Aaron hits his number 715. He takes the record right there and would hold it for some time until, Barry Bonds. This day in 1979, the final episode of All in the Family.
Oh, man. Okay, let's see. Birthdays today. You had Robin White. She's from Forrest Gump, and she played the lead role in House of Cards on Netflix.
Robin Wright?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
She's that blonde with the short hair. Yeah. Dean Norris, he plays the role of Hank in Breaking Bad.
Oh,
yeah. Hank. Yep. And that's really all I have. That's
from the NBA, John Havlicek, born on this day in 1940. From Major League Baseball, Catfish Hunter in 1946.
And if you listen to Christian music, he is very up and coming, kind of like Brandon Lake. His name is Forrest Frank, and he is surging right now in the Christian world and pop world. Mm-hmm. Notable deaths today. Pablo Picasso.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only one I got.
No, I find this bizarre. Pablo Picasso died on this day in 1973.
Yep.
So Pablo Picasso died 6 years before All in the Family ended. Let that screw with your mental timeline.
Oh, God.
Also, Margaret Thatcher died on this day in 2013. What national day do you got?
I have National Empanada Day.
We can roll with that.
Yep.
Hour 3 is next. I had some duck empanadas last night over at the the Lieutenant Governor's apartment at the Pentagon Barracks. Leaders for a Better Louisiana.
Oh, okay. I did Leadership Louisiana, and I know they had that thing yesterday.
Yeah, I went out there. St. Romain's like, oh, I didn't know you did. I didn't. I just crash these things. I just show up to see who's here.
Yeah.
And eat the food.
And, well, I don't go out of my way to eat the food, but it's there and it's good. It's good.
I'm great.
Oh, sorry, Chris. That's Breland.
That's okay.
and it's saying it retains the right to enrich uranium, which of course is one of the reasons this time
Carlson should be on the hotline.
Okay.
Was the guy running for office in studio?
Oh yeah.
My God, did you see this fight between the Braves and the Angels last night?
No.
Dang.
The Trump administration hasn't mentioned either of these things.
NBC's Untitled in Tel Aviv, Pakistan inviting the U.S. and Iran to talks on Friday. Global markets surged after the ceasefire was announced. Dow futures up more than 1,200 points, and oil is trading again at under $100.
Y'all have any legislation you're looking at?
Today, suspected Long Island.
We have one today. We don't talk about it.
Talk on
There's
7:30.
not a whole lot. There's one today that funds, renews the funding.
Hey, yes, sir. We're going to come to you in 2 minutes. I'll put you on hold, and Brian will pick up on this.
Independence Bowl,
Okay.
the Shreveport Sports Commission, and the Shreveport Airport.
Okay.
It's been a really quiet session for us, which is great. We haven't been doing last year.
Yeah. Well, we'll mainly want to talk about just like, looking at the 26 calendar. What is y'all's, recap your mission. What are you looking at this year? What's gonna be hot? What's not? You going down to Hondo Rodeo? Might talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't have a guest schedule for the segment after you. So if we run long, we can carry over.
We're here however long we need.
I don't know if that thing is too hot. I'm just freezing all the time.
Look, we run it. Every office that we have at our office, we have one in it, including mine. So.
Oh, good. So you used to it.
Mm-hmm. But what good is it doing you way back here? You need to put it on your desk.
I know, right?
No. There's computer equipment under the desk. We don't heat up computer equipment.
Right.
As it's next to the stuff that you have right here.
Yeah, but it's pointed away from that.
Yeah, it's pointed, yeah. Poor Brian, though, because anytime we have to shut that door because somebody's being loud out there, I could tell when it just gets roasted in here. And I'm loving it, but I could tell Brian, like.
The Texas Department of State Health Services has been looking into the policies and practices at Camp Mystic, where 25 campers and 2 counselors were swept away in flash flooding last July 4th. The agency.
Brian, what time do you sit down at your desk in the mornings here?
5 o'clock. I walk through the front door at 5. So I guess technically, I walk through the front door, I make the first pot of coffee. I'm at my desk for 5:05. So.
Anybody else here?
No.
That's nice. I love getting our office early. There.
She's the second one here. She gets here about 5:30.
Every now and again, Michelle Southern will get here early. Like every now and again, she'll get here. Like she'll roll her with me. Which is, I'm like, why are you here so early? Like I know why I'm here early, but.
Police say Edge drove a small motorboat to a dockside bar in Southport last September and with a semi-automatic rifle killed 3 people and wounded several others.
The woman who admitted selling Matthew Perry the ketamine that killed him will be sentenced
Yeah.
today. Jasmine Shanghai is the third of 5 people sentenced in connection with the Friends star's overdose in 2022. Shanghai, nicknamed the Ketamine Queen, had an elaborate drug operation catering to high-end clients and couldn't look
That whole thing.
This is a Bloomberg Money Man
With Matthew here.
Yeah.
After the U.S. and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire that's expected to halt the American-Israeli military in exchange with Iran reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Delivery workers need breaks too. There's now a place in New York City where they can go and take a break and charge their e-bikes. It's the first hub of its kind in the country. The $1 million hub will act as a shelter to get out of the rain, charge phones, and pump up or replace bike tires self-service style. There are 85,000 delivery workers in New York City. Hot for hot dogs. The Toronto Blue Jays last night honored the anniversary of its inaugural 1977 campaign by selling 77-cent hot dogs. The team says it sold 100,000 of them. Tuesdays are traditionally dubbed Morning Dog Night when the dogs are sold for $1, but they cost even less this time due to this special occasion. Bloomberg Radio.
Now, a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Eastbound I-10 traffic remains clear coming across the new bridge with no delays over to the 110 split. 110 traffic through downtown also problem-free. Now on the westbound side of I-10, you do have some light morning congestion.
This report is sponsored by Credit Karma. Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intimate Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
This report comes to you from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center.
Relief Window. Experience quality. Answer. ReliefWindow.com.
Talk 1073 Weather.
Was doing the Fado Donate auction, raising money for Oxford's Transplant Center a couple weekends ago. One of the auction items was a signed Zion Williamson basketball and 4 tickets to see the Pelicans. So I called Adrian and said, can we get a room at the Royal Sonesta so they don't have to drive back home that night? So she comped a room for it. She hooked it up for sure. And I was told that the people skipped the game and just used that for troll.
Hey, look.
Oh, shit. That's what happens when the Pelicans suck. Bum, 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 bum. 807 Talk 1073 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now, ticking up to 56 degrees to start off your 8 o'clock hour as we're broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. Visit 180pros.com. Time to dive back into the legislative session. We got State Representative Josh Carlson on with us. There's one bill in particular I want to talk about. There's not a whole lot of insurance bills this time around, but there's a couple of really good ones. HB 1002 is one of them. Representative Carlson's on with us now. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
No, glad to have you on. Glad to be having this discussion because every bite we can take at the insurance apple is a good one, especially when you got legislation like this. That is, if I'm not mistaken, are you in front of committee today or tomorrow?
We actually had committee yesterday, and we had a couple of insurance bills up, but I should be coming up in the next week or so.
Okay. So for those that, just to bring everybody up to speed, the abstract says provides relative to recoverable medical expenses. Tell me what your bill does.
Absolutely. So I think it's a very simple bill. I think it is common sense, which means we'll probably see tons of opposition to it, but it simply says that when you have medical expenses after an accident, you can contest the reasonableness of them. Because right now, you can get a medical bill for within a car accident, and defense can't question if that's a reasonable charge for that service or not. And so I have bills that I've gotten from trucking companies where they've been invoiced $43,000 for an MRI. Now, if you or I walked into a doctor's office without insurance, without Medicaid, without Medicare, and asked for an MRI, in Louisiana, you're looking at about $1,200, maybe let's call it $1,500 on the high end.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's a car accident, there are clinics that are set up that can charge any price that they want because you and I can't even question the reasonableness of that charge. And so mine doesn't set a fee schedule. It doesn't cap how much you can charge. It just means you have to defend why you think that's an appropriate market rate and defend why a $1,500 MRI should cost you $43,000. And so again, I think it's very reasonable, but I'm already hearing, not from attorneys, I'm hearing from doctors that are trying to fight this already, and it hasn't even been heard because doctors have known for years. And like, I love our docs, they do a great job. But there are some doctors out there that know that they can charge 10 and 20 and 30 times what the normal payment is for a certain service because nobody can even question the validity of it. And that's what my bill does.
Are you scratching the surface on an even bigger problem? Like there should be set rates for things like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, we did a lot last year to address insurance, and it is having impacts, and it will continue to have impacts on insurance rates. But where we haven't really touched is the commercial auto rate. I've talked to some truckers where their insurance is up, even in the last year, 40%, because they're typically the ones not seeing the $5 and $10 and $20,000 cases. They're seeing the $4 and $5 and $2 million cases because they carry that much insurance. And until we address the cost of medical bills, that is the single biggest driver of insurance costs and inflated medicals. Until we can address that, we're not going to see true relief in the personal auto nor the commercial auto side. And so that's what I've been looking at. Look, 30 years ago, we had a workers' comp problem, and we came up with, the workers' comp structure and a payment schedule, and that fixed that problem in the state.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that is ultimately the solution. And there are other bills this year that do that say that if you don't use insurance, you're capped at recovering whatever your insurance would have been, whether it's private or Medicaid. And so there are bills that would set a fee structure in place. But I'm saying I'm not even going to try to take that full bite of the apple this year. I just want you to be able to contest the reasonableness of it. Is $20,000 for getting a $500 steroid injection in your back appropriate? And let a jury decide. And if you can justify that expense, then that's fine. You'll be awarded that. But if you just went to any old doctor that charged any rate that he could because it could never be questioned, I think that's inappropriate. That's what's driving up our costs. And until we can address that, we're not going to see true relief in the state.
Talk with State Representative Josh Carlson about House Bill 1002, talking about recoverable medical expenses after an accident. Representative Carlson, I want to ask you, well, I know the answer to this one, but I got to ask it anyway. Who determines what's reasonable?
Right now, so the language in law says that medical charges have to be what's usual and customary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not really defined. And so to an average person, you or I would say, well, that just is, kind of what's the rough market price. If I call 3 doctors, I should get something pretty close to that. But usual and customary in law or in court cases has meant whatever that doctor normally charges. Well, we've seen specialty medical clinics set up so that you or I, as a private citizen, can't just walk in off the street and make an appointment. You can only get an appointment at these clinics if you're a client of a trial attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've set up their own. In some cases, I had a bill to try to address this last year. Some of the times, the attorney is owner or part owner in the medical clinic itself. And what is usual for them is 20 times a normal market rate because nobody can question it. Even though an attorney has an ethical obligation to limit the damages and to minimize costs, there's no way to really police that because right now you can't even question what is a reasonable medical charge.
State Representative Josh Carlson is our guest. Talk about reasonable medical charges or recoverable medical expenses in the wake of an accident. Representative Carlson, I have to ask you because when we get to this point in the equation, the charges have already been incurred. So do we retroactively, do the doctors have to eat it or because the bill's already been laid out there at this point, correct?
It has, but many other states have laws to this effect. Texas has a way for you to question the reasonableness of it.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, Florida and Georgia have put in similar measures because they were running up against the same problems that we have. And Brian, you know as well as I do that just because you were billed something doesn't mean that that's what is actually paid, nor was that the actual cost. And maybe, as we all do in our day-to-day lives, before I go and purchase something, right? I had to replace the roof on my house. I didn't just find the first person that came along and paid him whatever he said. I talked to neighbors. I got a few quotes. Okay, I don't like any of them, but here's what the average cost is. Let me go ahead and move forward with it because that seems to be the going rate. That's how we should approach medical charges. But if I just go out and run out to any doctor, or if I'm going to a clinic that I know is charging 5, 10, 20 times what the normal rate is, I think that's unethical. And so I am not concerned that I think we have to be less concerned about protecting how much that attorney might have spent on that medical procedure for a client and put the responsibility on them to do a little due diligence before they go out and spend in my example earlier, $40,000 on an MRI that should have cost $1,200.
One of my favorite parts about this bill is you can have bills that change the letter of the law when it comes to insurance. You can have bills that change the letter of the law when it comes to legal reform. But there are also bills that can help promote behavioral change when it comes to jackpot justice. I get the feeling that part of the impetus behind this bill is to say, let's get a structured, rate scale on different medical expenses in line on the front end, so we're not gouging on the back end. Is that the genesis of this?
That's exactly right. I mean, as long as like I said, this isn't even an issue with attorneys. I've seen hospitals come and fight bills like this last year, and have even reached out to me again this year, saying that this will put us out of business if we can't, if your bill goes through. It really raises some red flags for me. If your business model is built upon being able to charge 20 times what the going rate is, simply because someone can't even question, again, it doesn't limit what is paid out. It just simply means you can question how reasonable that charge is, and you have to give an explanation to the jury as to why you're charging 20 times what other doctors in your area would charge for the same procedure. If that scares medical providers so much, then that's the problem right there. And so that's what I'm trying to address.
Got just a couple minutes left with State Representative Josh Carlson. Talk about HB 1002 when it comes to recoverable medical costs. Yeah, Josh, I mean, as a comp, and I know this is a horrible comp, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. If I go to McDonald's and order a Big Mac, they don't ask how hungry I am before telling me the price.
No, you're absolutely right. And look, I wish that, in the medical world, that's the only place where we purchase a service without usually knowing how much it's going to cost us in the end. And I wish it were different, right? And we're not even talking about in an emergency situation, right? If you're hurt, it's an emergency, it's a life or death situation. You're picked up in an ambulance after an accident. Typically, we're not talking about, the charges that are coming from the ER. These are elective surgeries done months and sometimes years after an accident, where, again, an attorney in many cases are paying for those surgeries up front. You can ask, hey, if I walk in with cash, how much does this charge? How much would you charge me for this?
Right.
And you can get a rough estimate. I think that's reasonable to say, before you have this elective back surgery or neck surgery or treatment, if you simply ask how much it is, and you should be able to defend that price. If I have a wrist surgery and I went to the best orthopedic surgeon in town because I was a professional athlete and it cost me 2 or 3 times more, that's justifiable. And I think you can defend that. But if it's $40,000 for an MRI that should have cost me $1,200, that's hard to defend to a jury, other than saying we wanted to inflate the medicals so that future payments were inflated, which inflates the entire case value, and everyone makes more money while the insured of Louisiana are left paying the difference.
Last one before we get you out of here, and I appreciate you carving out a couple minutes this morning. You mentioned where you're hearing opposition from. Are you hearing support as well? Is this?
No, absolutely. We have seen tremendous support from, of course, our trucking and logging community, those who are bearing the greatest brunt of these inflated medicals and the cost of insurance. Of course, our business community, because they realize that it's not an isolated event, right? When we have these extreme judgments and inflated medicals, when we're paying double the insurance of other states, that affects the overall business climate. That affects every household. It is a tax on every Louisiana resident. We just don't realize that we're paying it. We're paying it every day in increased insurance costs. And so, yes, we've seen tremendous support for this bill, and it's really encouraging to see that.
He is State Representative Josh Carlson. We were talking about HB 1002 coming up very soon in committee. Representative Carlson, appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you, Brian. Have a great day.
You do the same. Quick break. Coming back, we're talking tourism in Louisiana. Chris Landry from the Louisiana Travel Association joins us next. Yo. Sorry I ran along with him. I knew that was going to happen.
Collection here. See what you got.
Oh.
Well, I like the St. Paul's hat.
Thank you.
We just went and bought first round of St. Paul's uniforms.
Just played obsession. We got State Representative Josh Carlson on with coming up very soon in committee. Representative Carlson, appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, yeah.
What are you doing there?
I am editing video, and in a second, I'm going to switch out that sub in for you. Yeah, we're live on Facebook right now.
Oh yeah, hot mics and everything.
Oh, very nice.
So. Easy drive in, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing going on?
It's been easy this week. It's been easy. Most of the time it's I just can't understand it. You know, at Jubin, why does it stop?
I don't know.
There's
I don't
never
know.
a reason.
Stays that way
There's
through
never a
range.
reason.
Right.
Yeah. There's never a reason.
And then you hit the Amy River Bridge, and it'll depending on time of morning, it'll open right back up again. It's like, why did we all?
So basically, if I leave my house on a regular day at 6:30, I'm beating my desk by 8:30. If I leave my house at 7:15, beating my desk at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it's just
so. Why wouldn't you leave at 7:15 every day?
Right, I do.
It's the same.
I mean,
it's the
sometimes
same,
I can't sleep and try to leave early, but
yeah,
it's always a pain.
8:22. Talk 107.3 FM WBRP ran super long with Josh Carlson. Wanted to take a deep dive into that particular bill, and I'm glad we did because that was a productive one. All right, pivoting over here, let's talk tourism in Louisiana. Chris Landry with the Louisiana Travel Association's in the house. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
No, glad to have you on. Glad to have you in studio.
Yeah.
Normally when I get you on, I know. Normally you're on the phone,
That's right.
gallivanting all over the state and whatnot. Wanted to talk to you a little bit. Actually, before we get into anything else, can we start with yesterday's big press conference about the seafood cook-off?
Yeah.
Going to the Pontchartrain Center.
Yeah, what an exciting event that they'll be able to have there in Jefferson Parish. You know, that event has grown over the last couple of years, and it moves around different cities throughout the state, and it just grows every time. And so the event, the press conference yesterday in Kenner was fantastic. Their community is really excited about it. Violet Peters and the Lieutenant Governor and Sam Carroll, who puts that on with Louisiana Seafood Board. I think they're all committed to make that an amazing event.
Yeah. Coming up June 26th, and the winner goes on the Nationals, which is also going to be in New Orleans.
Right.
So,
look, what a time to be from South Louisiana this weekend. We've got, from a festival standpoint, you've got the Boudin Festival in Scott.
Oh.
You've got the Hondo Rodeo Fest in New Orleans. You've got Hogs for the Cause in New Orleans as well. And my good friend from Tangy, Carla Tate, would be so mad at me if I didn't mention the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival this weekend. So, I mean, for your listeners in Baton Rouge, within an hour each direction, I mean, y'all are going to be able to clean up on things to do.
We are going to dive into the Ponchatoula Strawberry Fest a lot heavier tomorrow.
Sure.
I'm going to spoil a little bit of the content here. Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain comes on the show once a month, and it's a fantastic segment. And the Ponchatoula Strawberry Fest people like to come on to promote right before the Strawberry Fest. So last year, I got the wild idea to say, why don't I step aside and let the Ag Commissioner interview them rather than me interview them? And when I tell you it was a glorious train wreck, because you couldn't get either one of them shut up.
Right.
Like both sides just going. Yeah. Like, I did not know this much about strawberries. But so we're going to do that again tomorrow. It was a lot of fun. So, yeah, Strawberry Fest coming up in Ponchatoula. That is a banner weekend for Tangipahoa Parish.
It looks like the weather is going to be great this weekend, too. I think the highs are in the low 80s. No rain in sight Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So it should be a great weekend for festivals.
Let's talk about that because it is the front end of the festival season, if you will. Your role at LTA, I mean, how can you keep everything? You're spinning plates right now, man. There's a lot to promote.
There's a lot to promote, which is, I guess, certainly better than what the other side would look like of it. But it's just so much fun to be able to see people, come together, especially with the rodeo in New Orleans. That's something it's been a long time since we've had something like that. And to see the way people have rallied around Hogs for the Cause, to see that grow, to see the Scott Boudin Festival continue to grow as well. All these festivals, the Lieutenant Governor says it all the time, there's a festival for everything now. And really, the festivals, help with economic development, certainly help tourism in these areas. It's just a win for everybody. And I feel like there's always a new one popping up somewhere.
I know I'm going to butcher the quote, but I think his quote is something to the effect of, if you can cook it, kill it, eat it, wear it, or dance to it, we have a festival
That's it.
for it.
I think you nailed it.
I'm close. I don't think it's exactly right, but I think it's
Yeah.
close. We got Chris Landry in with us from the Louisiana Travel Association. We were talking a little bit during the break. I was asking you if you got anything going on over at the state capitol, because I know last year was a busy year for y'all at the Capitol.
And it was this year. I mean, we needed a break, and so this year has been a little bit quiet. There's a big bill coming through the Senate today that would protect the funding for the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, the Shreveport Sports Commission, and the Shreveport Airport. So we hope that goes through pretty easy this afternoon. Our friends in Shreveport do a great job up there. I don't know if you've ever been to the Independence Bowl, but what a great show of hospitality and a showcase for that community up there. Last time I went was when Southern Miss played. And I don't know that I've ever been colder in that game. Yeah, I did a bad job of dressing that day, and it was really windy, and it was like 30 degrees, and we froze. Southern Miss played Florida State that year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a big.
They lost.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Kind of like at the New Orleans Bowl.
That's right. That's right.
That was disappointing. It's a good game, though.
It was.
But for those that don't know, Chris is a Southern Miss grad, so Eagles to the top, always.
To the top.
So, and that's where my daughter goes now. So, I've kind of been an adopted Eagle, as it were. Hard not to be. A lot of good stuff.
You're
going
coming
on
around.
There. I am. Talk about Shreveport, though. Well, actually, let's go to the legislative side first. A lot of this stuff is procedural, right? A lot of this is just, I mean, when you talk about a renewal, right? Well, hopefully, yes. When you talk about a renewal, you could just, it should be as easy as saying, here's your ROI. Here's what we've already done. Here's what we've capitalized on. Here is where we plan on taking it. It should be.
I've seen the notes for the Shreveport team today, and that's exactly what they're going to go in there and talk about, right? And they've, you would think that, they've done a great job. And it's things like, it's not something really that's hidden. I mean, it's the Independence Bowl, right? It's the airport,
right?
So, you would think that everybody could see the good in that.
Oh, absolutely. Especially right now, though.
Sure.
I mean, stepping away from tourism, but Shreveport's been on a heater.
They are.
I mean,
economic development side as well. I mean,
you got 50 Cent and Jeff Bezos making investments in the 318. Who thought you would say that sentence out loud?
Sure.
That's with apologies to Jacob Hester, but that's a big get. So a little bit lighter on the legislative end this year, but it allows you to go back to concentrate on mission right now, which this time of year, I mean, are y'all as seasonal as the calendar is?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that like next week we'll be hosting our we do a large leadership class, a tourism leadership class. So next week is their Baton Rouge session. So we'll have 30 students, 30, young professionals from around the state. They'll be in, learning about the legislative process. They'll be here in downtown Baton Rouge for 2 days. Next week, in 2 weeks from there, we have our Women's Leadership Forum, which is the first of its kind that we're doing. Then we'll have National Tourism Week, which is the first week of May. We'll do our Tourism Day at the Capitol at the end of May, and then we'll have Summit in August. And it's just like, we can't catch a breath right now. We've got so much coming up, which is great.
I tell you what, can you hang out a little bit? Because we ran long in the first segment, so I wanted to make sure we get to everything here. Chris Landry is in with us from the Louisiana Travel Association. Before we hit news here at the bottom of the hour, I want to remind you about Guarantee Health Solutions, bridging the gap between healthcare and hospitality. Guarantee Health Solutions. Look, if you work in a medical office, if you're in the medical field in any way, shape, or form, talking urgent care, primary care, whatever the case might be, how is your patient retention? How is your patient growth? How is your patient relationship? Guarantee Health started off on the hospitality end of this, blending the service standards of the hospitality industry with the care delivery of healthcare. You can learn more about Guarantee Health Solutions at guaranteehealth.com. Oh, Rachel sent me an email and I didn't use it. Damn it. Oh, well.
So you saw my good buddy David St. Romain.
Yeah, yesterday, and then Saturday before last.
He played for
Fado Donate.
He played for Leslie's, my wife's 40th birthday, a couple Fridays ago.
Oh, fun!
And we did it at the Covington Country Club. They have you ever been to the dungeon there that they opened up? Like,
No.
I guarantee. Yeah, they just opened it up within the last 5 years. It's basically like where the old pro shop was.
Okay.
Turned it into a bar. And none of the main people, they never seen David or heard of David, and he came. He was awesome. He did good. All of our friends were like, "Who the hell is this dude?" He did a great job.
Then just so much energy and presence.
Oh yeah,
I know. Yeah, he's super underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him yesterday at the C100 thing. Which I love when it's, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I got there a little bit late, but yeah, I saw probably 30 different legislators out there, which is a nice little walkthrough.
Yeah.
Gordy's got us going to a lot of them.
Yeah, that's
bring
good.
some folks from sales along with, make some connections and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot.
Which one you got today? Is it Union or Sucker Suit?
No, I have Rotary today.
Okay.
So,
who's y'all speaker?
Marshall Falk.
Wow. Very nice.
Oh. So that should be. It's not every day you get to meet a NFL Hall of Famer. So, I don't think Baton Rouge quite grasps what we have here right now, but
I saw him and Lane are speaking together at something coming up too, which is great. I mean, they should embrace each other and do as much as possible.
Absolutely. But Dion used Jackson State to catapult himself.
Yeah.
I think Marshall Falk is going to use Southern to build Southern.
Yeah.
I don't see him having that same trajectory.
Yeah.
Or aspiration for that matter. But I don't even know how much of Baton Rouge realizes that Marshall Falk's from New Orleans.
Man, I think he has good stories too about maybe working the Saints games when he was a kid and that kind of stuff too.
So he went to Carver High.
Right.
My sophomore year at St. Paul's, we played Carver in the first round of the playoffs and beat them.
Go ahead.
And it was the year after Marshall Falk had graduated and went to San Diego State.
I don't know the story of how he got to San Diego State though.
Me neither.
I mean, that's odd.
Yeah.
How does that get away? Not only from LSU, but from everybody.
Everything was getting away at that time.
Yeah. True.
Cordell Stewart got away at that time.
But what was San Diego State?
Right. Well, what the hell was Colorado? Well, I guess Colorado was a little bit about that time. But around that time, nobody was staying home.
No.
That was the
That's right.
Hallman era.
This is your Louisiana Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry, Dr. Mike Strange, spotlighting the incredible edible egg just in time for Easter. Not only are eggs essential for Easter eggs from Louisiana, they also take your menu to the next level. From deviled eggs to decorating eggs, a staggering 180.
Write down the card number and send me an email, please.
That's how long it is.
Oh, is it? Never mind. We have no control over that. Oh, he'll be on tomorrow. So, yeah.
They didn't catch that?
No.
Okay.
This season, partner with a team to treat your fun like family. Go to CajunVisaCompany.com or search Cajun Visa, Louisiana's trusted HD workforce experts.
So my thing is going to all these legislative receptions and whatnot, is just background information for topics. I make sure everybody knows that everything's off the record.
Mhm.
There is no on the record
Mhm.
unless there's a hot mic there,
Right.
I'm just there to be a sponge and soak it all up.
Yeah.
But the really cool part is getting to meet, like, perfect example, Chuck Owen.
Mm-hmm.
I only get to meet Chuck Owen because he's completely on the opposite side of the carbon capture debate as I
Mm-hmm.
am.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking for about half an hour yesterday about Ken Burns' baseball documentary and just the old days of Major League Baseball and just.
Well, it's great for you. You have so many of them on. It's great for you to put a face with the name,
And a story behind the person behind the office, and that's what gets lost.
Yeah.
836 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Chris Landry in with us, sticking around for another segment here because I couldn't shut up in the first segment. That's why, is because I ran a super long there, and Chris has got a lot going on. We were breaking down the calendar. When we got caught up by news, and you were talking about what's to come in the very near future. For those that I want to spend a minute or two on Summit,
Sure.
in the hopes that I'm invited back again.
Yeah, consider it done. Here's your invite.
Awesome, because that is two of my favorite shows of the year, because it's like the easiest content around to just sit down with the different CVBs or travel bureaus from around the state and say, hey, tell me why you're awesome. And then, like, we learned so much about, we were talking a lot about Shreveport in our last segment, but there isn't a city in the state or a parish in the state that doesn't have great representation and a great reason to come visit them.
Absolutely. Summit's our biggest event. It's normally 2 days full of speakers, and not just, tourism related topics. I mean, we focus on professional development, economic development, leadership development. And it's really, our biggest event of the year. It's something we take a lot of pride in. It's something that the community that hosts it takes a lot of pride in. We've got some fun stuff planned for New Orleans this year. And then 2027, we'll actually be here in downtown Baton Rouge.
Okay.
So we won't have to pay for your hotel room. You'll be free, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Although, can I still claim a travel day the next day so I go out with y'all at night?
So. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, because that's a part of it that I can't give up. That was it's a lot of fun getting together. You can put travel people together.
We're always
y'all
a good
cut
time.
up for sure. Let's talk about the state of tourism right now, on not just a national scale but a global scale. How are we doing?
Look, I think that let's talk about Louisiana, right?
Yes.
And so, we like to talk about there's a triangle, right? And so when we're talking about economic development, we like to say that tourism is the top of the triangle, right? It all starts with a visit, right? And so everything that we've got going on in our state, from Meta to Hyundai to all these other large projects, that all fuels tourism, right? So, I don't think right now, I think during the middle of the week, you can't get a hotel room in Monroe. And I know that in Ascension Parish with Hyundai, that stuff's not far behind. So from a tourism standpoint in Louisiana, I think really right now, west of the Mississippi River, you're seeing the numbers, fly. And then, with it being festival season in New Orleans, you're going to start to see all their numbers start to rebound from the holiday season on through August.
New Orleans is in a weird spot right now because they have to come off a Super Bowl year.
Sure.
I mean, you don't replicate that. No matter how hard you try, you don't replicate that. New Orleans and company, I mean, they've stacked the deck for this year, to be sure. Basically I don't want to say every weekend, but every time you turn around, they're doing something new and innovative, like X Games trials or Hondo Rodeo
this weekend. Yeah, I can't wait for
it. Which is to me seems like I don't think anything's been done like this before, where you have a world-class rodeo on one side of the Superdome and basically Bayou Country Superfest reinvented on the other side.
It's funny you say that. So the last time, and I'm going to go Friday night to see Jason Aldean, and I think the last time I remember seeing Jason Aldean was at Bayou Country Superfest back when he was just coming out. But that's going to be a really exciting event. It's great to see it. And I'll tell you what, I know you've had James Trayrick on the show a couple times, just to see them, from a festival organizer, from an event organizer, just kind of come in and embrace Louisiana. They've had no ties to Louisiana.
Right.
I've seen them at Crawfish Boils. They have really made the media circuit up and down I-10, really promoting this, done a lot of things in our state. And, I hope this is a multi-year event that they can just continue to grow and grow, because I sure love hanging out with those guys.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun and embracing us the way that we would embrace them. I mean, that's the thing about Louisiana. If you love Louisiana, Louisiana's going to love you back.
That's right.
Even if if you're from halfway around the world, like Jason Josh when they rolled through,
Yeah.
the two British guys that rolled through last year. Talk about that for just a quick second, if we could. The international marketing, what's that looking like?
I'm certainly not qualified to speak on that, much like Walt Leger or the lieutenant governor. But, we've got teams from around the state, going to India, going to Paris. The Saints game in October is going to be a huge, showcase for our state. I know that there are several teams going overseas to help promote tourism in Louisiana. I see something where we just signed something like a rights deal with Italy.
Really?
For the Saints, yeah. And so I think that anytime we can promote our brand overseas and tie it back to something, right? Because you're tying it back to the Saints, and the Saints are certainly represent all of our states. So I think our focus there to try to get the international traveler here, they stay longer, they spend more money. I think the lieutenant governor and the Office of Tourism team does a great job with that.
Walk me through it. We'll go back to the triangle you were talking about, and the top of the triangle being tourism. Walk me through how you partner to spin this into economic development. You said everything starts with a visit, but where does it go from there?
Starts with a visit, then you open up a business, and then you move here.
Okay,
right? Or
I mean,
I may have that wrong. I mean, it all starts with a visit, then you move here, then you open a business, and tourism is the anchor of that triangle. It all starts with a visit. If you come in here and you don't have a positive first impression, then the likelihood of you moving here is going to be slim to none.
How much does it help to have someone heading up economic development like Susan Bourgeois, who, I mean, changed the game with last year's Super Bowl with the Louisiana Now exhibit, and then brought that up to Washington Mardi Gras? She's looking to, throw that thing up everywhere you turn around, because it's creating or it's inspiring Louisiana storytellers.
Well, and she's doing another one with the Hondo Rodeo Fest. I mean, they are,
of course she is.
They have the exact same thing set up, where they've partnered with us and a lot of our convention and visitors bureaus around the state to bring in, a taste of Louisiana rodeo. So they've got stuff from the Tangy Rodeo. They partnered with Louisiana Country Music to bring in singers to come in and play in there, and they do an amazing job partnering with our convention and visitors bureaus. That's something that we really value her for. Rachel Shields in her office does a great job of getting our people involved, and I think right now there's a synergy between tourism and economic development like there's never been before. We kind of are starting to understand each other and realize that it goes both ways.
Chris Landry heads up Louisiana Travel Association, hanging out with us a little bit today. Chris, I want to pivot over. Talk about another synergy there. We are in a state that has a world-class city, a world-renowned city, a city that, like, you can't find a corner of the earth that doesn't know what New Orleans is and what New Orleans is all about. So obviously when it comes to tourism, that's going to be the lead. How do you work the synergies within the rest of the state to where it's not all New Orleans all the time?
It's just storytelling. I mean, everyone has a story to tell. We talked, as soon as I came on the show about the festivals that were happening this weekend. I think the more we can talk about the Scott Boudin Festival and the Louisiana Food and Wine Festival in Lake Charles and the Rubber Duck Festival in Monroe, I think that everybody has a story to tell. And the great thing about economic development, they get a lot of the headlines, but tourism benefits from all that. And we've got some amazing people around our state, some great convention and visitors bureaus. You've got a fine one here in Baton Rouge. Jill Kidder does an amazing job.
Yes, she does.
Everyone has a story to tell, and it's our job as the association to be able to help them tell that story.
The Rubber Duck Festival?
Yeah.
Tell me about
Festival of the Year.
That's what. Tell me about it.
It is done by the mayor's office. They put on these I guess they dropped the rubber ducks like in the river, and they just recently won our Festival of the Year for the Louis Awards.
The images of this thing, are amazing. And yeah, we've had Friday Ellis on numerous times. He's super duper proud of it. It is a fun time. I need to look up what the dates are on that one though.
It's always in the fall.
Yeah, I think you're right. But yep, No, it looks like it's a couple weeks from now. Let me refresh this so I don't give out poor information. But no, the images of this thing are amazing. It's worth the drive. just to see the duck drop. And you've got the festival surrounds the whole thing, which kind of brings it together. That's Northeast Louisiana. Give me some other tidbits from around the state. Obviously, we know Strawberry Fest in Tangipahoa, but what are a few of the other ones that kind of pop up and like, oh, this one needs your attention?
2 years ago, and I still haven't done this one yet, but it's always a popular one is the Mall Walk out down in Houma, where you get all these guys.
Wait, Bree Lynn's
they all
from
dress
Houma.
up. Yeah,
you know this?
Yes, I know all about it. Yes.
So I haven't done it yet, but I've seen the pictures and seen the videos, and it looks like an amazing time.
They get up early in the morning. They start drinking. They have a good time. The music's playing. It's one big part. It makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
But that's what Houma does best.
Absolutely.
And we made fun out of it. Yeah.
It makes 0 sense.
It does. It does. But we love it.
The sales pitch right there.
But you know what? I mean, they walk down Main Street in their
Yep, downtown Houma Main Street in front of the courthouse.
and you've got people that like set up bars and stuff
Yep.
all along the way. It looks amazing.
It's kind of like a little liquor walk, a beer walk,
Mhm.
and the whole thing, and they just make a day out of it.
All right, so I do have the updated. The Washita River Fest is where the duck drop's at, April 24th, 25th.
All right, coming up then.
Yeah, coming up very, very shortly. I'm not gonna be able to go to that though. That's Mercy's Fair weekend.
Look, we've got a busy next few weeks with festivals. Let's pick your poison here.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Chris Landry with us from the Louisiana Travel Association. Hey, before we get you out of here, and we'll thank you for hanging out a little bit. But before we get you out of here, messaging to Baton Rouge would be what on the travel front?
Oh, look, no, you've got like I just said, you've got an incredible Convention and Visitors Bureau here. They bust their butts every day to try to bring in new events and meetings to your community. They do a phenomenal job. I hope that LSU baseball team can kind of turn around here a little bit. I know that a regional would be wishful thinking at this point, but it sure would be nice to drive some hotel rooms toward the end of May, early June.
So negative. A regional would be wishful thinking?
I think at this point we can both agree that it would be wishful thinking.
Oh,
huh?
I don't know, man.
No?
So they've won their last 2 SEC series. So it's riding the ship, man. It's riding the ship.
And you have complete optimism over the next few weeks that it's just. I would hope. My fingers are crossed, but I think that we're being optimistic here.
I got full faith in a man who's won 2 of the last 3 natties.
All right.
So we'll take it down that path. But in the meanwhile, though, it's one of the things that I absolutely love about this state is the fact that you can go to literally any nook and cranny. Great example was last year. We did the RV trip last year. Y'all teamed up with me to do the RV trip last year. Ended up going to Borghardt State Park as part of it in an RV park. We went to Robert, Louisiana for an RV park there, but just an amazing time just getting in the nature that we have. I mean,
the Lieutenant Governor would love what you're talking about right now. The Borghardt State Park, and again, I didn't realize there's horseback riding there. I know that they're everyone, they're known for the mountain bikes,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah. You did it?
No.
Oh,
We
okay.
saw it. We saw it up close.
Yeah.
We were on a nature hike, and the hiking goes right next to the mountain bikes. But yeah, that's world class on that front. If you're into that sort of thing, it was beyond compare.
And some of them have like some really nice cabins, like up toward in the northern part of the state. They've done a really good job. Brandon Burris does an amazing job there as well.
Well,
what they've done with the parks in Louisiana, I think, is a huge testament to the Office of Tourism and the Lieutenant Governor's
See,
office.
we didn't need the great cabins because we had the great RV from
You
Miller's
did?
RV.
Yep,
so
yep.
He's Chris Landry with LTA. I'm gonna let you get to work now, man. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
man.
Here's your money now.
Stop me.
Sorry.
I love how you just kept going. Like
What?
he didn't even flinch with the alert.
That's why I didn't.
So it takes us over on the air, but not on the app, and not on the Facebook, and not on the YouTube. So, yeah, we lose the on-air audience, but
Oh, nice. So they might not have heard my blunder. My blunders.
I don't think they did. Well, Facebook did,
Okay.
but the on-air audience did not. And yeah, I got to get the Lieutenant Governor's office to sign off on another RV trip because I know Jeff Hilliard over at Miller's RV would be down.
Nothing is editable, huh?
Huh.
I hate that Rubber Duck Fest. I didn't get that right.
It's fine. We cleaned it up.
The Rubber Duck Fest.
Live radio.
Yeah.
Do you work in the same building as Charlie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I was at the zoo, he was my rep. I was at the Baton Rouge too. I was the senior marketing gal. So
Oh, but damn. Yeah.
And Charlie, I worked with him for 2 years straight. And he's always like, God bless. He's always so scatterbrained.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get him on the phone, I'm like, hey, Charlie, you got to come pick up the rack brochures at a place. Oh, yeah, well, I got those already. I said, no, sir. I said, you told me 2 weeks ago you weren't coming to get them. Okay, well, I'll be out tomorrow. Well, tomorrow came, you never showed up. And then, he just randomly shows up. And I'm like, it's cool. I love Charlie.
He's great. He's good. All right, bud.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Oh, man. Thank you. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you for the
And yeah, I didn't know if I was allowed to say that when I was set in as a judge, that's where I got my look at the Rubber Ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And I didn't know if I was allowed to say that I was a judge on that.
Yeah, no, I hadn't. And again, I haven't looked at that festival since then.
Yeah.
So, you have a big, huge audience in Monroe. Mike Eccles didn't text me in a minute. Tell me.
Mike Eccles listens. Friday listens. Friday's communications person's here. Mercy.
Right,
There's a lot of good stuff going on. So we're in the Summit's in Baton Rouge next year.
27.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right. See y'all later.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Learn more and book today at WilliamsonI.com. That's WilliamsonYE.com. Your Porsche, Audi, or Land Rover isn't ordinary. Your mechanic should be easy. And Dexter European, our skilled technicians provide precise repairs, routine maintenance, and transparent guidance tailored specifically to your European or exotic vehicle. Dexter European, where precision meets performance.
Chill the mic for a second.
Finance and beyond. From desktop solutions to high production systems, you'll find the perfect fit to keep your business moving forward. With 100 employees strong, we're ready to help. Call 225-756-2644.
There's nothing toxic about CO2. This is a fantastic example of how proudly misinformed the public can be on the topic. Do you have LRN 4, 5, and 6?
Yes.
Let me leave my keys.
Oh.
You know what? I was going to say you're going to need them.
So, yeah, Chris is good people. I love partnering with him. He's the right man in the right place for that job.
Renee, that could have been, it shouldn't have affected anything on the app, but it could have been when we had that Amber Alert that came through on air.
We didn't have an Amber Alert. No, we did not. Who's missing? I thought that was just an EAS.
Scroll up on your iPhone. Do this to where it pops up. Child abduction, East Baton Rouge. Suspect vehicle. You want me to screenshot this and send it to you?
No, I want you to repeat it. I thought that was a normal EAS, but yeah, screenshot it.
No, that's why when you were just going through, I'm like, okay.
You don't need to. I got it right here.
Okay. Yeah, that's what that was.
Why did my phone go off?
Mine went off. His went off. That's why we both did this. We both to make it stop going off. Yours should have went off though.
Yeah. That's why I didn't think anything. I thought it was just another EAS.
Do you have your phone to do not disturb?
No.
That wouldn't have had nothing to do with it.
I had it on silent.
It would have still broke through.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Renee, that could have been what it was, but normally that has nothing to do with what y'all hear on the stream. That's why Brian just kept going. 4 or 5 cents. 4 or 5 cents.
Yeah. 856 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along, about to wrap up, hand off to Moon Griffon and the Moon Griffon Show. A couple of items here real quick. You heard that Amber Alert in our last segment, took over the segment, and for good reason. An Amber Alert was issued this morning for a missing child right here in East Baton Rouge Parish. The alert says that Ian Castellanos, 1-year-old Hispanic boy, was last seen wearing a brown sweater and khaki pajama pants. Authorities are searching for a gray 2013 Toyota Tundra with a Louisiana license plate C372710. At license plate, if you're out and about in traffic, C372710. The suspect in Castellanos' abduction is an unidentified black male wearing black jeans, a black hoodie, and brown boots. If you come across the Tundra, the license plate number, you want to call 911. I just make no bones about it. You just want to call 911. So just want to repeat that before we got out of here this morning. There was one other story we wanted to touch on before we get out of here, which we will get to in just a quick minute. Do need to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's downtown on 3rd Street, the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, and Highland Road just west of Kenilworth. If you are in the Kenilworth subdivision, the Kenilworth area, this is the original Kenilworth supermarket. They're back now, Mathern's at Kenilworth. It's the same family that owns it, same family that runs it. A lot of great local products. In fact, when you talk about a lot of the local things that we do here that folks just aren't as good at elsewhere, they've got them over there at the Mathern's at Kenilworth. And oh, by the way, love telling you about the Rewards app, because there are new rewards every single week. When you download the Mathern's Rewards app, you get to take advantage of those. In fact, is the new one out yet? Checking right now. Doing this in real time. Dang it. No. So normal. Oh, no, there it is. Oh, hey, how about Tony Sashery's dinner mixes? Ooh, the dinner mixes are $1.99 right now. So if you want to get like the jambalaya in a box that Tony Sashery's puts out there, $1.99 at Mathern's. All right. Take you over to the state capitol, take you back to the state capitol, I should say. There is legislation right now, and you've been hearing about this from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network, to attract the aerospace industry to Louisiana. The legislation has been approved by Ways and Means. Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois says other states are currently providing better tax incentives to lure aerospace companies. Cut 4.
We looked at some of the laws that they had in place to allow them to compete for projects and win, and saw that Louisiana didn't have those same opportunities. So we have begun to look at our statutes and see what adaptations we need to make to position us to win in this space.
So the measure would give sales tax rebates to aerospace businesses that create 200 permanent jobs and make a $1 billion investment. Gotta like those numbers. The legislation, of course, has the support of the Landry administration. The governor's chief of staff, Julie Emerson, testified about the bill.
Louisiana is trying to remain competitive with neighboring states and provide a welcoming environment to a new industry that is increasingly growing, and we would like for it to grow its footprint here in Louisiana.
Well, and we kind of already know what we're doing on this front because of Mishu. I mean, we have no shortage of experience there. All right, that's going to do it for us, y'all. Moon Griffon's coming up next. We will be back at it tomorrow. Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain will be with us. All right, I got to get out of here, y'all, because I've got an interview coming up in 10 minutes that I'm not yet prepped for. A former FBI agent, in fact. So we'll see y'all tomorrow.